The sages of old taught that the world you perceive is not the cause, but the effect. It is a mirror, reflecting with perfect, unwavering accuracy the state of your inner kingdom. Look around you now. Look at the circumstances of your life, not with judgment, but with a quiet curiosity. For many, this reflection shows a landscape of struggle, of not enough, a constant, grinding effort just to stay afloat. There is a persistent feeling of being a spectator to your own life, especially in the grand theater of abundance. Wealth, prosperity, true financial peace, these can feel like a foreign language spoken in a distant land, a feast to which you were not invited. You watch others partake, and you wonder, what is the secret they know that I do not? What is this invisible barrier that stands between the life I live and the life I sense is possible? Here is the truth that will form the foundation of our journey together. There is no barrier, there is no secret language. You are not a spectator, you are the architect. The feeling of separation you experience is the great illusion, the only illusion. The universe does not withhold abundance from you. It can only deliver a perfect reflection of the signals you are sending. The problem is not that you are unworthy, or unlucky, or unskilled. The problem is that you have been broadcasting a frequency of lack, and the universe, in its infinite and impersonal love, has been faithfully matching it. This journey, this time we share, is not about learning a new technique to get rich. It is not a strategy, it is an awakening. It is a remembering of the language you have forgotten, the native tongue of your soul, which is the language of vibration, of feeling, of frequency. We are here to activate a power that has always been dormant within you. The power not to chase or to grasp, but to attune. To tune your very being to the frequency of wealth, of wholeness, of effortless flow, until the world outside has no choice but to rearrange itself to match your inner song. This is the path to activating the millionaire frequency, not by doing more, but by being more of who you truly are. So breathe, let go of the struggle for a moment, and let us begin. Let us now walk together into the first great chamber of understanding, the very source from which your reality is painted. We call this place the echo chamber of your mind. Do not mistake this for a simple metaphor. It is a living, breathing description of reality's mechanics. Your mind, the consciousness that you identify as you, is not a passive observer watching the world go by through the windows of your eyes. It is an active, ceaseless broadcast tower, and the universe is its sacred sounding board. Every single thought, no matter how fleeting, no matter how quiet, is a vibration sent out into the cosmos. It is a cause. The life you experience, in its every detail, is the effect. It is the echo, returning to its source. This is the first law. Before you can change your life, you must accept your absolute, terrifying, and liberating responsibility for it. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the originator of the sound that creates the circumstance. The poverty you lament is an echo. The debt that binds you is an echo. The feeling of being overlooked and undervalued is an echo. These are not punishments from a cruel world. They are simply the physics of consciousness, as neutral and as reliable as gravity. To truly grasp this, we must redefine what a thought is. A thought is not a silent, weightless thing confined to the space between your ears. It is a pulse of energy, a tangible, though invisible, construction. When you think I can't afford that, you are not merely making an observation. You are casting a spell. You are molding the energy of the quantum field, which is infinite potential, into a specific shape. You are firing a precisely calibrated signal into the great canyon of existence. And the canyon walls, which are the laws of the universe, do not judge the sound. They do not have preferences for beautiful sounds over ugly ones, for sounds of joy over sounds of despair. Their only function is to reflect, to return the essence of what was given. So when the echo of "I can't afford that" returns to you as a declined credit card or an unexpected bill, the universe is not punishing you. It is simply agreeing with you. It is saying, yes, as you have spoken, so it is. This is why a life of unconscious thought leads to a life of what appears to be random chaos. You are sending out thousands of contradictory signals a day, and you are living in the cacophony of their returning echoes. The most powerful echoes are not born from the thoughts you are aware of. They are born from the whispers in the basement of your mind, the ceaseless, automated loops that run in the background. The operating system of your personality. These are the beliefs you absorbed as a child, the conclusions you drew from past pains, the quiet anxieties that hum beneath the surface of your day. Money is hard to come by. Rich people are greedy. I am not smart enough. Something will probably go wrong. You have to work yourself to the bone to get anywhere. These are not loud, declarative shouts. They are the near-silent, constant hum of the machinery. But in the great canyon of your mind, this constant, low-frequency hum creates the most powerful, most pervasive, and most resonant echo of all. It becomes the weather system of your reality. It is the subtle, ever-present fog of lack that colors everything you see. You might try to shout a new positive thought into the fog, like "I am wealthy," but it is a single shout against a relentless, humming wind. It is quickly dissipated, and the old, familiar echo of "No, you're not" inevitably returns, reinforcing the original belief and making you feel foolish for even trying. This is why positive thinking alone often fails. You are not just trying to change a thought, you are trying to change the entire acoustic architecture of your inner world. Imagine your mind as a vast, ancient canyon carved over millennia. The walls of this canyon are your beliefs, hardened into stone by years of reinforcement. Some walls are smooth, made of beliefs of trust and worthiness. When you send a thought of joy, it echoes back, pure and clear. But other walls are jagged and distorted, made of fear, trauma, and self-doubt. When you send a thought of desire, it hits these jagged surfaces. The echo comes back twisted, warped. You desire abundance, but you harbor a belief that you are not worthy of it. So you whisper, "I want more money," into the canyon. The sound wave travels, hits the jagged wall of unworthiness, and the echo that returns is not abundance, but anxiety about money, or a brief windfall followed by a greater loss, a distorted reflection of your original call. The weather in the canyon is your emotional state. On a day filled with gratitude and peace, the air is still and clear, and even the quietest whisper of intention travels far and returns with clarity. On a day filled with anxiety and stress, a storm rages in the canyon. The winds of fear howl, and no matter what you try to broadcast, it is ripped to shreds before it can ever find a surface to echo from. To change your life is to become a conscious geologist and meteorologist of your own inner canyon. You must first learn its shape, its textures, its climate, before you can hope to produce a new sound. So, where do we begin? Not with a shout. Shouting against the storm is exhausting and futile. We begin with a single, new, conscious whisper. A whisper so quiet, yet so deliberate, that it has a different quality from the automated hum of fear. In a moment of quiet, when you can feel the familiar echo of "it's not possible," you introduce a gentle counterpoint. Just, "What if it is?" You are not trying to convince yourself. You are not fighting. You are simply introducing a new possibility, a new frequency, into the chamber. "I will never get out of this debt," the old echo says. You listen, you acknowledge it. And then you gently whisper into the space after it, "I am open to the possibility of a solution." This is not denial. This is sonic architecture. You are not trying to demolish the old walls. You are planting a seed of ivy in a crack in the stone. a single small green shoot of a new thought. At first, it seems insignificant. The old echoes of the humming machinery will dominate, but you tend to your seed. Every day, you return and whisper to it, "I am open. I am willing to see this differently. I am willing to be surprised." You are not looking for immediate proof. You are simply practicing a new sound, nurturing a new vibration in a small protected corner of your vast canyon. The universe's response, the returning echo, is always perfect, but it is not always instantaneous. There is a buffer of time and space. This buffer is a gift. It gives you a chance to change your mind, to stabilize your new broadcast before it solidifies into reality. However, for the impatient mind, this buffer feels like a curse. This is the critical point where most people abandon their inner work. They whisper their new intention for a day, or even a week, and when they don't see $1 million appear, they throw up their hands and say, "See, it doesn't work." They listen for the new echo, but all they can hear are the old, familiar ones, because those have had decades of momentum. They fail to understand that for a time, you must broadcast the new signal purely on faith. You must turn your back to the current, echoing reality, and hold your attention on the new sound you are creating. You must ignore the echoes of bills and lack, and place your focus entirely on the quiet, persistent whisper of, "I am supported, I am resourceful, all is well." You are choosing a new sound to be the source of your future, even as you stand amidst the echoes of your past. This requires a calm, centered, unwavering focus. So for the next few moments, let us simply practice this. Let us become the silent observer in the center of our own canyon. Do not try to change anything. Do not judge. Simply listen. What are the dominant sounds in your mind right now? What are the recurring echoes that define your day? Is it a hum of anxiety, a sharp echo of self-criticism, a rumbling echo of scarcity? Just listen. Acknowledge these sounds as echoes of past broadcasts. See them not as truths, but as old sounds reverberating. By observing them without reacting, you begin to detach from them. You realize you are not the echo. You are the one who listens to the echo, and you are the one who can choose the next sound to be sent. In this space of quiet observation, you reclaim your power. You cease being a victim of the noise and become the conscious composer of the symphony. This is the first step, to recognize that the chamber is your own. Now, we must learn what gives our whispers their power, what turns a faint, hopeful sound into a reality-shattering decree. We must learn about the true currency of the universe, the fuel that powers every echo, and that currency is feeling. We have stood together in the echo chamber of your mind and acknowledged that your thoughts are the sounds that shape your world. But a sound needs a medium through which to travel, a force that gives it substance and reach. A whisper in a vacuum dies instantly. A thought without a motivating force is just as inert. That force, that medium, that power that turns a fleeting mental image into a dense physical reality is feeling. Feeling is the currency of the universe. It is the only coin the cosmos recognizes. This is the second great law, and it is here that most seekers stumble and fall, for it is profoundly counterintuitive. You have been taught your entire life to feel as a reaction to your circumstances. You get good news, you feel happy. You receive a bill, you feel anxious. Your feelings have been tethered to the external world, making you a slave to the echoes of your own past thoughts. The Great Awakening, the secret to all deliberate creation, is to sever that chain. It is to learn to generate feeling by choice, not by circumstance. It is to understand that you do not feel wealthy because you have money. You have money because you have allowed yourself to feel wealthy first. This is the fundamental reason why the common practice of positive thinking so often results in frustration and failure. A person will stand in front of a mirror, looking at a reflection that shows exhaustion and worry, and they will chant, "I am rich, I am abundant, I am prosperous." They speak the words, they think the thoughts, but their entire being, their body, their heart, their nervous system is screaming a single, powerful, contradictory feeling. I am terrified. I am in lack. This is not working. The universe, the Great Canyon, is not deaf, but it does not listen to your words. It feels your vibration. A thought is a blueprint, but the feeling is the energy of the construction crew. You can have the most beautiful blueprint for a mansion, but if the construction crew is filled with doubt, fear, and a deep-seated belief that they are only capable of building a shack, then a shack is what you will get. The feeling always wins. It is the dominant frequency. Trying to overlay a positive thought on top of a negative feeling is like painting a wall white without scraping off the black mold underneath. In a matter of time, the darkness will bleed through again, more potent than before, because now it is coupled with the disappointment of your failed attempt. Let us explore this metaphor of currency more deeply. Imagine you wish to take a journey to a land called abundance. To enter this land, you must pay an entrance fee at the border. The border guard, who represents the universal law, does not accept the currency of your current country, the land of lack. He does not accept coins of worry, bills of anxiety, or credit cards of desperation. He only accepts one currency, the native currency of the land you wish to enter. He only accepts the feeling of abundance itself. So you stand at the border, wanting to get in, but holding only the currency of lack. It seems like an impossible paradox, a cruel cosmic joke. How can I have the currency of abundance, you ask, if I am not yet in that land? And the border guard replies, "You do not understand. You have an inner mint. You can print any currency you choose, at any time. You have simply forgotten how to operate the machinery. The secret is that you must generate the feeling of being in the land of abundance before the border gate opens. You must pay first. You must feel the relief, the peace, the freedom of your desire being fulfilled now, while you are still surrounded by all the evidence of the contrary. This is the ultimate act of faith. It is the payment. So how is this done? How do you feel something that your senses tell you is untrue? You do it through the sacred and disciplined use of your imagination. Your imagination is not a frivolous tool for daydreaming. It is the workshop of God. It is the mint where you create the currency of feeling. The process is not to pretend, it is to assume. There is a profound difference. Pretending is a conscious act of wearing a mask, and you are always aware of the face underneath. Assuming is the act of stepping so fully into a state that the mask and the face become one. We will begin this practice now. I ask you not to imagine $1 million falling from the sky. That is the stuff of fantasy, which often carries a subtle vibration of impossibility. Instead, I ask you a simple question. What would it feel like if your greatest financial problem was solved, right now, in this instant? Do not focus on the how, do not focus on the amount. Focus purely on the resulting feeling. Would it be excitement? Perhaps for a moment. But what lies beneath the excitement? For most, it would be a wave of profound, soul-deep relief. A great exhalation, a loosening of a knot in the stomach that you have carried for years. A sudden stillness in the mind. The feeling of a great weight being lifted from your shoulders. That feeling, that quiet, gentle, expansive feeling of relief. That is the currency. That is the price of admission to the land of abundance. It is crucial here to distinguish between volatile emotions and this deep, abiding feeling state. Emotions are like the weather on the surface of the ocean. They are waves that rise and fall in reaction to external winds, a rude comment, a piece of good news, a traffic jam. They are fleeting and chaotic. A feeling state, however, is the deep, powerful current of the ocean itself. It is the climate of your being, not the weather of your day. You can cultivate a deep, internal climate of peace and security, even while the surface of your life is being pelted by the rain of temporary problems. The goal is not to suppress your emotions. If you feel anger or sadness, you must allow it to pass through you without judgment. But your work, your true spiritual practice, is to constantly, gently return to your chosen feeling state. To make the feeling of relief and well-being your home base, your default setting, you visit other emotional states, but you no longer live in them. You live in the state of the wish fulfilled. This sustained feeling state is what broadcasts a clear, powerful, unwavering signal into the canyon. It is this signal that has the power to carve new patterns in the stone walls of reality. And know this process is not merely a mental exercise. Your body is the ultimate resonating chamber for feeling. Your body does not lie. You can tell yourself you feel abundant, but if your shoulders are hunched, your jaw is tight, and your breathing is shallow, your body is broadcasting a frequency of fear and contraction. A true feeling state is embodied. When you practice the art of assumption, you must bring your body along with you. As you imagine that wave of relief, consciously relax your shoulders, unclench your jaw, breathe deeply into your belly. Let your very cells become saturated with this new feeling. Where in your body do you feel lack? Is it a tightness in your chest, a cold knot in your gut? Now, where would you feel the release? Imagine a warm, golden light of relief spreading through that exact spot, dissolving the tension, healing the contracted energy. By anchoring the feeling in your body, you are turning your entire being into a powerful antenna, broadcasting your new reality with irrefutable conviction. You are not just thinking a thought, you are inhabiting a new state of being. Let us practice this now for just a moment. Close your eyes if that feels right for you. Take a slow, deep breath. Forget what your senses are telling you about your world. Forget the numbers in your bank account. Forget the list of bills. Let it all fade into the background. It is just old news, echoes from a past broadcast. Now, with your imagination, your divine workshop, simply assume the feeling of your greatest wish being a present, factual reality. Perhaps it is financial freedom. Perhaps it is perfect health. Whatever it is, step into the feeling of it being done. Feel the quiet thankfulness. Feel the profound peace. Feel the gentle wave of relief washing over you from the crown of your head to the soles of your feet. Let your shoulders drop. Let your stomach soften. Let a gentle secret smile grace your lips. This, right here, this feeling is the most valuable thing you possess. It is the master key. You have just printed a single, perfect bill of the currency of heaven. You have just made a payment. You have just sent out an echo of a future that is now racing towards you. Practice this daily. Make this feeling your sanctuary. But as you do, you may find powerful forces from within rising up to object, to tell you that you have no right to feel this way. These are the ancient, invisible contracts you have signed, the vows of scarcity we must now bring into the light and break once and for all. You have stood in the echo chamber of your mind. You have learned the secret of feeling as the true currency of reality. And so you begin to practice. You close your eyes, you quiet your mind, and you attempt to generate the feeling of relief, of abundance, of peace. For a moment, you might touch it. A flicker of warmth, a brief sense of expansion. But then, almost immediately, something else rises up to meet it. A cold wave of resistance, a tightening in the chest, an insistent, nagging voice that whispers, "Who are you to feel this good? This is a lie. This is not for you." This resistance is not a sign that you are doing it wrong. It is a sign that you have just brushed up against the invisible bars of your own cage. These bars are what we will call the vows of scarcity. These are the sacred, unspoken, and fiercely protected agreements your subconscious mind has made with lack, with struggle, and with limitation. And before you can truly inhabit the frequency of wealth, these vows must be brought into the light, honored for their purpose, and consciously, deliberately broken. These vows are not made in a grand ceremony. They are signed in invisible ink during the quiet, formative moments of your life. For many, the contracts were drafted in childhood. You sat at the dinner table and heard your parents, whom you loved and trusted as gods, speak of the world. Money doesn't grow on trees, they said, their voices tight with worry. We can't afford that. You have to work your fingers to the bone for every penny. Rich people are greedy and cruel. You, as a child, did not hear these as opinions or as expressions of their own limited circumstances. You heard them as gospel. You heard them as the fundamental operating laws of the universe. And so you signed the contract. The vow. To get money, I must struggle endlessly. The vow. To be a good person, I must not have too much money. The vow. Wanting things is dangerous and leads to disappointment. These became the load-bearing walls of your reality, and you have spent your adult life decorating a prison cell you do not even know you are in. For others, these vows are even older. They are not written in the ink of your own childhood, but in the blood and tears of your ancestors. You carry within your very DNA the energetic memory of grandparents who survived a Great Depression, of great-grandparents who fled famine or war. For them, the world truly was a place of profound scarcity and danger. Their vows of scarcity: never have more than you need. Save everything. Be invisible. Don't stand out. Trust no one were brilliant survival strategies. They kept your bloodline alive. You, living in a different time, a different world of infinite possibility, have inherited these survival strategies as subconscious programming, and so you feel a strange, inexplicable loyalty to their struggle. A part of you feels that to become truly wealthy and successful would be to betray them, to leave them behind, to prove that their suffering was somehow unnecessary. And so you take a vow of loyalty. You unconsciously sabotage your own success to remain energetically connected to the tribe, to honor the hardships of those who came before you. You keep yourself small to honor their memory, without realizing that the greatest honor you could pay them is to live the life of freedom they could only dream of. And these vows are reinforced by the world around us. Society loves to romanticize the struggling artist, the noble poor, creating a subtle but powerful narrative that there is virtue in lack. Some religious interpretations have twisted messages of non-attachment into a condemnation of wealth, equating money with moral corruption. To be spiritual, you are told, you must be detached from material things, which is often misinterpreted as a command to be poor. This creates a devastating internal conflict for the spiritual seeker. You desire a life of ease and flow, but you harbor a deep-seated fear that to be wealthy is to be unholy or unenlightened. So you make another vow: I will choose God over money, not realizing that the source of all creation is the source of all abundance, and there is no separation, there is no choice to be made. The only unholy act is to believe in a universe of limitation, to deny the infinite generosity of your own source. So now, let us become archaeologists of your own soul. Let us find the specific wording on your personal contract with scarcity. Ask yourself these questions with radical honesty and notice the first feeling or phrase that arises without judgment. How did your family speak about money when you were a child? What were their catchphrases about wealth and rich people? When you imagine having an extravagant amount of money, what is the first negative feeling that comes up? Guilt, fear, anxiety, a sense of being overwhelmed. Do you believe deep down that you must suffer or sacrifice or earn your place in the world? Do you believe that ease is laziness? The answers to these questions are the clauses written in your contract. The discomfort you feel is the alarm system, triggered because you are approaching a core belief, a sacred vow. That feeling of guilt is the vow that says, It is selfish to have more than others. That feeling of fear is the vow that says, wealth will attract negative attention and danger. That feeling of anxiety is the vow that says, I won't know how to handle it, and I will lose it all and be a failure. These are your personal vows of scarcity. Let us now take this contract, this invisible parchment you have carried for so long, and look at it together. Before we destroy it, we must first honor it. Understand that this contract, this vow, was never your enemy. It was a guardian. It was a misguided attempt by a younger part of you, or the energy of your ancestors, to keep you safe. The vow to remain small was designed to protect you from the pain of failure. The vow to see wealth as dangerous was designed to protect you from jealousy and harm. The vow to struggle was designed to make you feel worthy and hard-working in the eyes of your family. This contract was born of love, albeit a fearful and limited love. It has served its purpose. It has kept you safe within the confines of what you have known. But you are no longer a child. You no longer live in the world of your ancestors. You are ready for a new level of safety, a safety that is found not in limitation, but in expansion. The safety that comes from knowing you are one with an infinitely abundant universe. So now, in the quiet theater of your mind, we will perform a sacred ritual of release. I invite you to visualize this contract. See it in your hands. It may be an old yellowed scroll. It may be a simple handwritten note. See the clauses, the vows written upon it. Read them one last time. Now, holding this contract in your mind's eye, speak to it. You can do this silently or whisper it aloud. Thank it. Say, I see you. I understand why you were created. You were meant to protect me. You were meant to keep me safe, to keep me loved, to keep me worthy. I honor your intention. I thank you for your service. Your work is now done. Feel a sense of gratitude for the protection it offered, no matter how limiting it has been. You are not fighting it. You are graduating from it. And now, with a voice of calm authority, the authority of the conscious creator, you declare its power over. Say, but this contract is now expired. The terms are no longer valid for the reality I choose. By the power of my own free will, I declare this vow of scarcity null and void. I release myself. I release my family. I release my ancestors from this agreement. We are all free. As you make this declaration, imagine the contract dissolving in your hands. See it turning to light. See it burning to a fine, shimmering ash and being carried away by a gentle wind. Feel the energetic chains connected to it falling away from your wrists, from your heart, from your mind. Feel the lightness in your being as this ancient weight is lifted. You may feel a sense of sadness, a sense of grief for the part of you that has lived under this law for so long. Let that feeling come and go. It is a cleansing. You have just performed a profound act of spiritual liberation, but in doing so, you have created a vacuum. You have torn down the rotten foundation of your old financial house. Now, there is an empty space. This space must be consciously and deliberately filled, lest the old materials creep back in out of habit. You must now build a new foundation, a new inner framework based not on inherited fear, but on an unshakable, self-generated sense of profound worthiness. You must now learn the architecture of deservingness. We have performed a sacred and necessary demolition. By bringing the vows of scarcity into the light and declaring them void, you have cleared the foundation of your inner world. But now, there is an empty plot of land, and this space is humming with potential. If left untended, the old familiar weeds of your past conditioning will inevitably creep back in to reclaim the territory. Nature, especially the nature of the mind, abhors a vacuum. Therefore, we cannot leave this space empty. We must now engage in the most crucial construction project of your life. We must consciously lay a new foundation and build a new inner structure. This structure, the temple from which your new reality will be born, is built with the materials of pure deservingness. It is time to construct the architecture of your own infinite worth. Here lies the greatest and most tragic misunderstanding of the human condition. You have been taught that worthiness is something to be earned. It is a prize awarded for good behavior, for achievements, for productivity, for sacrifice, for being chosen, for being loved by another. Your life has been structured as a ceaseless quest to prove your value. You strive for the promotion, the degree, the perfect body, the approval of your peers, the admiration of your family, all in a desperate attempt to gather enough evidence to finally convince yourself and the world that you are worthy. But this is a game that can never, ever be won. It is a spiritual treadmill. The moment you achieve one goal, the feeling of worth it provides is fleeting, and the goalposts immediately shift. You get the promotion, and now you must prove you are worthy of that new role. You earn the money, and now you must prove you are worthy by managing it perfectly. This belief system, the belief in conditional worth, is the source of all burnout, all anxiety, and all self-judgment. It is a lie. The truth is so simple and so radical that the conditioned mind rebels against it. Your worthiness is not conditional, it is absolute. It is not something you earn through doing. It is something you are through being. Your worth is not a reward for your existence, it is inherent in your existence. A star is not worthy because it shines because it is its nature as a star. A rose is not worthy because of its fragrance and beauty. It possesses fragrance and beauty because that is the nature of a rose. It does not try to be worthy. It simply is. You are no different. The very fact that you are here, that consciousness is experiencing itself through you, that you are drawing breath, is your non-negotiable certificate of infinite worth. It was issued at the moment of your conception, and it can never be revoked. Nothing you can do, and nothing you can fail to do, can ever add to it or subtract from it. It is the one constant in the universe of your being. To build the architecture of deservingness is not to build something new. It is to finally, deeply, and irrevocably accept what has always been true. Let us return to our metaphor. You are a temple, crafted from a single, seamless piece of pure, solid gold. This golden temple is your true self, the divine consciousness that you are. However, over the course of your life, this golden temple has been splattered with mud. Each judgment from another person was a handful of mud. Each self-critical thought was another. Each failure, each disappointment, each absorbed belief in your own limitation added to the layers. Now, after years, the temple is so completely caked in this dried, cracked mud that you have forgotten the gold entirely. You look at yourself and believe you are the mud. You believe you are this flawed, imperfect, cracked being. And so you spend your life trying to patch the cracks in the mud or paint over it, not realizing the pristine, unbreakable gold that lies just beneath the surface. The work of deservingness is not to build a temple. The temple is already perfect and has always been. The work is simply to begin, gently and patiently, to wash away the mud. How do you do this? Not with a high-pressure hose of self-aggression. You do it with the gentle, flowing waters of awareness and compassion. Every time you catch a self-critical thought and choose not to believe it, you are rinsing away a layer of mud. Every time you make a mistake and offer yourself forgiveness instead of condemnation, you are washing away a layer of mud. Every time you allow yourself to rest when you are tired, you are washing away the mud of the belief that your worth is in your productivity. This is a gentle, persistent process. You are not at war with yourself. You are a loving caretaker, tending to a sacred site, restoring it to its original, shining glory. The gold has never been tarnished. It has only been obscured. Your worth has never been diminished. It has only been forgotten. It is vital to distinguish here between this deep, inherent worth and what the world calls self-esteem. Self-esteem is conditional. It is based on your current evaluation of your skills, your appearance, your recent successes or failures. It is a fluctuating stock price. You close a big deal at work, your self-esteem soars. You get a critical comment on social media, it plummets. It is a fickle and unreliable source of well-being. Inherent worth, however, is the bedrock of gold beneath the shifting sands of self-esteem. It is absolute. It is unchanging. It is the deep, silent knowing that even on a day when your self-esteem is at zero, when you feel you have failed at everything, your core value remains infinite and untouched. Anchoring yourself in this understanding is the key to unshakable inner peace. Your outer world can be in turmoil, your self-esteem can take a hit, but you can retreat to the inner sanctum of your golden temple and know, with absolute certainty, I am worthy, I am whole. This too shall pass, but my value is eternal. This is not an intellectual concept to be debated. It is a reality to be embodied. You build the architecture of deservingness by treating yourself as if you are a being of infinite worth. You begin to speak to yourself not as a harsh critic, but as a cherished and beloved friend. You establish firm boundaries with others, not as an act of aggression, but as a sacred act of honoring the temple grounds. You learn to receive. This is a critical practice. When someone pays you a compliment, do you deflect it or do you allow it in? When someone offers you a gift, do you feel uncomfortable or do you receive it with open-hearted gratitude? The inability to receive is a primary symptom of a perceived lack of worthiness. Practice receiving. It is a powerful affirmation to the universe that you are ready and open for more good. You give yourself permission to experience pleasure without guilt, to invest in your own joy, to spend an afternoon doing nothing at all, simply because being is enough. Each of these small acts is a vote for your own worth. It is a conscious choice to align your actions with the truth of who you are, rather than with the lies of the mud. As you lay this new foundation, as you begin to feel the solid gold beneath your feet, you will need a tool to keep it polished, to make its radiance an active, living force in your life. This tool is a frequency generator in its own right, a way of attuning the newly cleaned temple so that it sings a song of pure reception. This powerful, you have stood in the empty space where your vows of scarcity once lived. You have laid the new foundation, the unshakable architecture of your own inherent, infinite deservingness. You have acknowledged the truth that you are, and have always been, a golden temple. The structure is sound, the foundation is firm, but a temple, no matter how perfect, can become dusty. Its golden surfaces can grow dim if not tended to. Now begins the joyous work of making that temple shine, of turning it from a passive monument into a living, breathing, radiant transmitter that actively calls more light unto itself. The tool for this sacred polishing, the force that makes the gold gleam with an active, magnetic resonance, is the practice of gratitude. But we must immediately redefine what this means. This is not the polite, hollow thank you of social conditioning. This is not a moral duty to count your blessings. This is physics. Gratitude is a technology. It is the tuning fork of the universe. Let us be clear on the mechanics of this force. As we have established, the universe is a mirror, an echo chamber that reflects with perfect precision the frequency you broadcast. When you live in a state of wanting, of longing, of focusing on what is missing from your life, you are broadcasting a powerful frequency of lack. You are telling the universe, I do not have. The universe, in its perfect obedience, echoes back, yes, you do not have, and provides you with more experiences of not having. It is a self-perpetuating cycle of dissatisfaction. Gratitude is the master key that breaks this cycle. When you generate a genuine feeling of gratitude for something, you are shifting your entire energetic signature from a state of I want to a state of I have. you are closing the gap. You are broadcasting the frequency of present tense fulfillment. You are looking at your life exactly as it is now and declaring to the cosmos, it is enough. I already have. And the universe, hearing this powerful new signal, this song of sufficiency, has no choice but to respond in kind. It says, yes, you already have. And it begins to orchestrate circumstances to bring you more things to be grateful for. Gratitude is not a passive response to getting something good. It is the active cause of getting something good. Now, let us explore our metaphor. Imagine your entire being, your mind, your body, your spirit is a finely crafted musical instrument, like a cello. Through years of unconscious thought and living under the vows of scarcity, this instrument has been tuned to the key of lack. It produces a low, discordant, anxious hum. It is the background music of your life, and you are so used to it, you may not even notice it anymore. Gratitude is a cosmic tuning fork, forged to resonate at the precise frequency of abundance, which is a frequency of joy, peace, and love. When you take this tuning fork and strike it, it begins to vibrate, emitting a pure, clear, unwavering tone. If you then touch the base of this vibrating fork to the body of your cello, a principle of physics called sympathetic resonance occurs. The cello, the instrument of your being, is forced to abandon its old, discordant hum and begin vibrating in harmony with the pure tone of the fork. The practice of gratitude is the act of deliberately and repeatedly touching this tuning fork to your soul. Each time you genuinely feel thankful for something, you are retuning your entire being, cell by cell, thought by thought, from the frequency of what is wrong to the frequency of what is right. You are forcing the anxious hum of lack to surrender to the beautiful, clear note of enough. The true work, the master's practice, lies in cultivating what we might call radical gratitude. It is simple to feel grateful when you receive a check in the mail or when someone gives you a wonderful compliment. A child can do this. The spiritual adult learns to find gratitude in the very circumstances that once brought despair. This is a profound shift in perception. You receive a large bill in the mail. The old habit is to feel a pang of fear, a tightening of lack. The practice of radical gratitude invites you to hold that bill and feel thankful for the service it represents. Gratitude for the electricity that powered your lights, for the roof that kept you warm, for the system that delivered water to your tap. The bill is not a sign of your debt. It is the echo of abundance you have already received. To be grateful for it is to align with the flow, not to resist it. You encounter a difficult problem, a setback. The old habit is to feel anger, frustration, victimhood. Radical gratitude asks you to find the gift. Thank you for this problem, you can whisper, for you are showing me a limiting belief I need to heal. You are a guidepost, pointing me toward my own freedom. This transforms every obstacle from a wall into a doorway. The most powerful and fundamental form of this practice is gratitude for what is most easily taken for granted. Gratitude for the simple, staggering miracle of your own breath, which has arrived without fail every moment of your life, requiring no effort on your part. To sit for 1 minute and just feel a deep appreciation for the air filling your lungs is to align yourself with the effortless, constant, and overwhelming abundance of life itself. Gratitude for the body that carries you, for the heart that beats tirelessly, for the eyes that perceive color and light. This is not just a mental trick. This is a biological reality. The state of fear and lack is governed by your sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight response. It floods your body with cortisol and adrenaline. It is a state of contraction. The state of gratitude, however, activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest response. It releases dopamine and serotonin, the neurochemicals of well-being. Practicing gratitude physically changes your body. It moves you from a state of biological scarcity to a state of biological abundance. You are literally commanding your cells to live in a new, more prosperous reality. This practice should not be a chore, but a joy. It is a treasure hunt. Weave it into the fabric of your day. You can begin a simple gratitude journal, but do not just make a list. Writing "My home" is a start, but writing "I am so deeply grateful for my home, for the feeling of safety it provides, for the warmth of my bed, for the way the morning light comes through the window," evokes the feeling. The feeling is the prayer. The feeling is what tunes the instrument. You can go on a gratitude walk where your only purpose is to find things to appreciate: the intricate pattern of a leaf, the resilience of a flower growing through a crack in the pavement, the shared, unspoken smile with a stranger. You are training your mind, your reticular activating system, to search for and focus on evidence of beauty and abundance, rather than evidence of lack and danger. And what you focus on expands. Express your gratitude aloud to others. To thank someone genuinely for their help or their presence not only blesses them, it doubles the energy for you. You give it and feel it simultaneously. You become a fountain of appreciative energy, not a drain of unmet needs. As you become a practitioner of gratitude, you are constantly polishing the golden temple of your being. You are making its surfaces so reflective, so radiant, that it cannot help but attract more light, more abundance, more life. But for this resonance to become truly profound, for the pure note of the tuning fork to permeate every atom of your being without distortion, the temple must first be quiet. The ambient noise of the world and the inner chatter of the anxious mind can drown out the subtle, powerful frequency you are trying to cultivate. You must create a space for the new song to be heard. You must discover the unimaginable power and richness that lies not in sound, but in its opposite. You must enter the temple and learn to appreciate the profound wealth of silence. We have polished the golden temple of our being with the resonant power of gratitude. We have used the tuning fork of appreciation to align ourselves with the frequency of what is right, what is good, what is already present. But now we must enter the temple's most holy chamber, the inner sanctum, where the acoustics are so perfect that the quietest whisper of intention can shape worlds. This is a place that the modern soul has been trained to fear above all else. It is a space we have filled with endless noise, constant distraction, and frantic activity, terrified of what we might find if the clamor ever stopped. We must now, with gentle courage, reclaim the greatest and most misunderstood source of wealth in the universe. We must learn to cultivate, to enter, and to cherish the profound, creative, and generative power of silence. Our world is engaged in a war against silence. It is a relentless 24-hour-a-day assault on the stillness of the soul. From the moment you wake, your mind is a battlefield. The alarm clock is the first shot. Then comes the barrage of notifications, the endless scroll of social media feeds, the shouting headlines of the news, the podcasts that fill your commute, the music piped into every store, the constant hum of the office, the television that chatters in the corner of your home. And when all of that external noise finally ceases, the internal noise begins its onslaught. The relentless inner narrator, the voice of the ego, replaying past grievances, rehearsing future anxieties, judging, analyzing, planning, worrying. This voice never ever stops. We have become so accustomed to this deafening cacophony that we believe it is normal. We believe it is who we are. We have forgotten that silence is our natural state, our home, our source. We have become addicts of stimulation, junkies of distraction, and the withdrawal we fear most is a single moment of quiet, uninterrupted, unmedicated being. Why this deep, primal fear of silence? Because in the silence, there is nowhere left to run. In the silence, the masks we wear must come off. The carefully constructed identity, the busy and important person you pretend to be, dissolves. And what is left? You are left, simply you. And in that raw, unfiltered space, everything you have been using noise to suppress comes bubbling to the surface. The unprocessed grief, the quiet loneliness, the deep-seated fear of failure, the nagging sense of unfulfillment. We use noise as an anesthetic. We use busyness as a shield. We stay in constant motion so that we do not have to feel the truth of our own inner state. To willingly enter silence is an act of profound courage. It is to say, I am willing to meet myself exactly as I am, without distraction. I am willing to feel what needs to be felt. I am willing to face the ghosts I have been running from. But here is the secret that the noisy world will never tell you. When you finally stop running and turn to face these ghosts in the stillness, you discover they are not the monsters you imagined. They are lost children, parts of yourself that are simply asking for your attention, for your acceptance. And when you give it to them, when you allow these feelings to arise and pass through you in the safe container of silence, they lose their power, they integrate, they heal. The silence is not a place of terror. It is the ultimate sanctuary. It is the healing chamber of the soul. We must redefine silence. It is not an emptiness. It is not a void. It is not a lack of anything. Silence is the ultimate presence. It is the canvas upon which all sound is painted. It is the primal, unmanifested potential from which all creation emerges. Think of it as the womb of the universe. It is the dark, fertile, living stillness from which all life, all ideas, all inspiration, all wealth is born. To enter silence is to return to the source code of reality. It is to dip your cup into the river of infinite potential before it has been channeled into the narrow streams of specific thoughts and circumstances. When you are in the noise, you are dealing with effects, with echoes of what has already been created. When you are in the silence, you are at the point of cause. You are in the presence of the Creator. This is why all great spiritual traditions, without exception, have venerated silence through practices like meditation, contemplation, and retreat. They knew that God, the universe, the source, does not shout, it whispers, and its voice can only be heard when everything else has fallen away. Let us use our metaphor of the garden. Your mind is a garden. Your subconscious is the deep, rich soil. An intention, a desire for wealth, is a tiny, precious, and powerful seed. Now, imagine a frantic, anxious gardener. He takes this precious seed, plants it in the soil, and then, 5 minutes later, he is consumed by doubt. Is it growing? Did I do it right? Maybe it's not working. So he takes his trowel and frantically digs up the seed to check on it. Finding it unchanged, he plants it again, only to repeat the process an hour later. He is constantly disturbing the soil, agitating the environment, flooding the seed with the anxious energy of his disbelief. Will that seed ever sprout? Never. It will die, starved of the one thing it needs most. A period of undisturbed, uninterrupted gestation in the quiet, nurturing darkness of the soil. This is precisely what you do when you set an intention and then spend your days worrying about it, checking for results, trying to force it to happen, agonizing over the how and the when. Your anxious thoughts are the frantic gardener's trowel, constantly digging up your own desire, killing it with your impatience and your doubt. The practice of entering silence is the act of becoming a wise gardener. It is the conscious choice to put down the trowel. It is the act of trusting the process. You plant your seed, which you do by clarifying your desire and generating the currency of feeling, and then you let it be. You allow the silent, intelligent, creative forces of the universe to do their work. You trust that germination is happening in the unseen, in the deep, quiet earth of your subconscious, which is connected to the universal field of all potential. Silence is not passive waiting. It is an active, powerful and necessary state of trust. It is the ultimate declaration of faith. It says to the universe, "I have done my part. I have planted the seed. Now I trust you to do yours. I will not interfere." So how do we begin to cultivate this fertile ground? We do not start by trying to silence the mind. That is like trying to flatten a stormy ocean with an iron. It is a battle you will always lose, and it will only create more struggle, more noise. The gateway to silence is not through the mind, it is through the body. Your body is the anchor that moors you to the present moment, the only place where silence can be found. The anxious mind is always in the past or the future. The body is always, only, here and now. So the first step is to simply bring your awareness into your physical form. Find a comfortable position, close your eyes, and just feel. Feel the weight of your body on the chair or the floor. Feel the points of contact. Feel the air on your skin. Begin a gentle scan from the tips of your toes to the crown of your head, not to change anything, but simply to notice. Where are you holding tension? In your jaw, your shoulders, your stomach? As you bring your quiet, loving awareness to these places, you may find they begin to soften on their own. You are not forcing them to relax. You are simply creating the condition of awareness in which they can remember their natural state, which is ease. A still body coaxes a still mind. Once you have established a connection with the still body, you move to the second gate, the breath. Your breath is the most powerful and accessible tool you have for entering the silent present. It is the rhythm of life itself, a constant, gentle wave washing ashore on the beach of your being. Your only task is to observe it. Feel the cool air entering your nostrils, filling your lungs, and the warmer air leaving. Do not try to control it. Do not judge it as too shallow or too deep. Simply let your awareness rest upon this natural, effortless rhythm. The mind will wander. That is its nature. It will pull you into a thought about work, about a conversation, about what you need to do later. Do not fight it. Do not get angry at yourself. The moment you realize you have wandered is a moment of beautiful, triumphant awareness. In that moment, you are awake. And you simply, gently, without any drama, escort your attention back to the sensation of the breath. Each time you do this, you are performing a sacred repetition. You are strengthening your muscle of presence. You are choosing the silence of the present moment over the noise of the past and future. You are choosing the anchor of the body over the storm of the mind. And what do you discover in this cultivated stillness? At first, you may only notice the noise more acutely, but with practice, something miraculous begins to happen. You start to notice tiny gaps between your thoughts, a flicker of space, a moment of pure, thought-free awareness. In the beginning, this gap may last only a fraction of a second, but it feels like an eternity of peace. This space is the silence. This is the goal. It is not to eliminate thoughts forever, but to reside in the space between them. With continued practice, this space begins to widen. You find you can rest in it for longer and longer periods, and you realize a profound truth. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that is witnessing the thoughts. You are the silent, spacious sky, and the thoughts are just clouds passing through. This realization is the beginning of liberation. The clouds can be stormy, they can be dark, but they can never, ever harm the sky. It is from within this silent space that a new voice begins to emerge. It is not the loud, neurotic, demanding voice of the ego. It is quiet, it is calm, it is steady. It is the voice of intuition. This is the voice of your higher self, your connection to the universal intelligence. It does not speak in long, analytical paragraphs. It speaks in nudges, in quiet knowings, in sudden, brilliant ideas that seem to come from nowhere, in synchronicities that guide you effortlessly along your path. This is the voice that holds the solutions to the problems your analytical mind has been wrestling with for years. The analytical mind works with the limited data of your past experience. The intuitive mind has access to the infinite data of the quantum field. The millionaire frequency is not a shout of affirmation. It is the quiet, confident whisper of intuition, heard only in the stillness, telling you exactly what to do, who to call, where to go. Silence is how you turn up the volume on this divine guidance system. Furthermore, in the vast, open space of silence, your problems begin to lose their power. When you are caught in the storm of your mind, a problem can feel like the entire world. It is all-consuming, terrifying, solid. But when you retreat into the silent chamber of your being, you see the problem from a new perspective. You see it as just another cloud passing through the vast sky of your awareness. It shrinks. It loses its density. Its sharp edges soften. You realize that you are not the person who has the problem. You are the timeless, spacious awareness in which the thought of a person having a problem is occurring. This detachment is not carelessness. It is the source of all mastery. You cannot solve a problem from within the same level of consciousness that created it. Silence elevates you to a higher vantage point, a place of peace from which the perfect solution can be seen with perfect clarity. Therefore, understand that silence is not empty, it is generative. It is the fertile void. It is the most potent creative state you can enter. The ritual of powerful manifestation is this. First, you use your conscious mind to clarify your intention. Then, you use your heart and body to generate the currency of feeling, the feeling of the wish already fulfilled. And then, most importantly, you release it all into the silent stillness of your being. You let go, you trust. You enter the womb of creation and allow the universal intelligence, which is infinitely more powerful and wise than your ego, to orchestrate the details. Your job is not to figure out the how. Your job is to hold the vision, feel the feeling, and then provide the fertile, silent ground for it to grow. The greatest wealth, the most brilliant ideas, the most profound peace will not come to you when you are striving and struggling and thinking. They will come to you when you are still. They will arrive in the quiet moments of your becoming. So, seek out this silence. Create appointments with it. Cherish it as your most valuable asset. For as you learn to live from this center of stillness, you will find that you no longer need to shout at the world to get what you want. You simply align with the silent power that creates worlds and allow that power to flow, unimpeded, through you. From this stillness, your perception will clear, and you will begin to see the world, not as it appears to the noisy mind, but as it truly is, a field of infinite, ever-present abundance. You have sat in the holy sanctuary of silence. You have allowed the frantic noise of the world to subside, and in the stillness, you have touched the creative source of your own being. Now, it is time to open your eyes and bring the peace of that inner temple out into the world. But you must not look upon the world with your old eyes. To do so would be to immediately lose the peace you have cultivated. The practice now is to learn to see differently, to perceive the world not through the lens of lack and limitation which is trained by society, but through the lens of radical, pervasive, and undeniable abundance. You must train yourself to see the riches that are hidden in plain sight, to find the overflowing wealth that exists even in what you once called a barren field. The greatest poverty is not a lack of money, it is a poverty of perception. We have been conditioned to define abundance through an incredibly narrow and unforgiving metric, the number in our bank account. We have been taught to stare so intently at this one single fluctuating indicator that we have become completely blind to the infinite ocean of wealth in which we are swimming every moment of our lives. To define your wealth by your bank balance alone is like looking at a magnificent, ancient rainforest and seeing only its value as lumber. It is a desecration of the truth. It is a self-imposed state of lack. When your entire sense of prosperity is tied to a single number, you are perpetually in a state of anxiety. If the number goes up, there is a fleeting moment of relief, immediately followed by the fear of it going down. If it goes down, there is immediate panic. This narrow focus is a prison of the mind, and it is time to blast the walls wide open. Let us now begin the work of redefining abundance. We will expand our vision to acknowledge the incalculable fortune that is already yours. Begin with the sheer, staggering wealth of your own being. As you listen to these words, a heart is beating in your chest, a complex, faithful muscle that has been pumping life through your veins since before you were born, all without your conscious command. This is wealth. You are breathing air, a free and endless supply of the very substance of life, a gift from the trees and the oceans. This is wealth. You possess senses, eyes that can perceive the difference between 1,000 shades of green, ears that can hear the voice of a loved one, skin that can feel the warmth of the sun. Kings of old would have traded their entire kingdoms for the medical miracles that you take for granted, for the simple remedies that keep you alive and well. Your body is a symphony of trillions of cells, all working in perfect, intelligent harmony to create the experience of you. To ignore this, the foundational fortune of your existence, is the ultimate blindness. Now, extend your gaze outward. Look at the profligate, almost reckless abundance of nature. The sun does not charge a fee for its life-giving light. It rises every single morning, a daily promise of renewal and energy, bathing the entire planet in riches. A single oak tree produces thousands of acorns in a season, not counting, not rationing, but expressing its nature with extravagant generosity. The rain does not ask if the ground is worthy before it falls. Life itself is a force of unstoppable, creative abundance, constantly expressing itself in millions of forms, always pressing forward, always creating more. To align with abundance is to align with this relentless, creative, generous spirit of life itself. Acknowledge the wealth of connection. The smile you receive from a stranger, a moment of shared, unspoken understanding, is a deposit in your spiritual bank account. The kindness of a friend who listens, the comfort of a family member's embrace, these are priceless jewels. And consider the abundance of knowledge. You have, at your fingertips, more information, more art, more music, more wisdom than was available to the most powerful emperor in history. You can learn anything, explore any topic, listen to any symphony. This, too, is a form of wealth that is so vast, we have become numb to it. To see this hidden wealth, you must become like a master gold prospector. A novice walks into a rocky, barren canyon and sees nothing but dirt and stones. He sees lack. But the trained prospector walks into the exact same canyon and his eyes light up. He is not looking at the dirt. He is looking for the signs. He sees the type of quartz formations, the specific color of the soil, the way a stream has deposited minerals over centuries. He sees the subtle evidence of the gold that is hidden just beneath the surface. He sees wealth where the untrained eye sees only wasteland. Your task is to become a prospector for abundance in the canyon of your daily life. You must train your eyes to look past the surface appearance of things and to see the underlying flow of energy and wealth that is always present. Let us make this a practical skill. Take a common symbol of lack, an unexpected bill. The untrained eye sees only a demand, a debt, a loss. The prospector's eye sees it differently. A bill is a receipt. It is a record of abundance that has already flowed to you. The electricity bill is evidence that you have lived in a home filled with light and power. The grocery bill is evidence that you have had access to nourishment from all over the world. The mechanic's bill is evidence that you have a complex machine that transports you and a skilled person who knows how to maintain it. When you can hold a bill in your hand and genuinely say, Thank you for the abundance that this represents. You have fundamentally altered your relationship with money. You have shifted from the frequency of fear and debt to the frequency of gratitude and flow. Perform an abundance inventory. Right now, in the room you are in. Stop and truly look. The chair you are sitting on is an object of incredible wealth. An idea for it was born in someone's mind. It was designed. Materials were sourced from the earth. It was manufactured in a factory, assembled by human hands, shipped across distances and brought to this very spot, all to provide you with comfort and support. That is a staggering flow of energy and resources, all converging on the simple act of you sitting down. The clothes you are wearing, the device you are listening on, the cup of tea or coffee beside you, each one is the end result of a global chain of cooperation and energy. Your life is supported by an invisible network of immense wealth. Spend your days actively looking for this evidence. Keep an evidence of abundance log. Write down every single proof you find. A parking spot opening up, finding a forgotten $10 bill in a coat pocket, a friend paying for your coffee, the beauty of a sunset, a moment of deep laughter. By consciously documenting the evidence, you are training your brain's confirmation bias to work for you, not against you. You are telling your subconscious mind, "See, I told you, we are surrounded by wealth." This is not a game of make-believe. This is a practice based on the fundamental law of energetic resonance. What you place your focus on, you amplify. By withdrawing your focus from the single narrow metric of your bank account and placing it instead on the overwhelming, multi-dimensional evidence of the abundance you already possess, you are doing something profound. You are calibrating your entire being to the feeling state of wealth. You are becoming a vibrational match for plenty. You are no longer the frantic gardener digging up the seed. You are the wise prospector who knows, with quiet confidence, that the gold is there. And as you hold this state of seeing and feeling the wealth that already is, the universe, in its role as the perfect mirror, must begin to reflect this new reality back to you. The reflection will have no choice but to include the very forms of wealth you once thought were missing, including the financial. You are not trying to attract something you do not have. You are simply opening your eyes to the riches that have been yours all along. And in doing so, you become a magnet for even more. As you master this new vision, as you become a true prospector of the good, you will notice the flow increasing. And here, a new and final challenge will arise. With the arrival of more comes the temptation to hold on, to clutch, to fear its loss. This is the final barrier to mastery, the stranglehold of attachment which we must now learn to release. You have polished the temple of your being with gratitude, and you have trained your perception to see the ever-present riches in the world around you. As you continue these practices, you will begin to notice a shift. The flow of life will begin to move more easily towards you. Synchronicities will increase. Opportunities will appear. Small blessings and windfalls will become more frequent. You have calibrated your energy, and the universe is beginning to respond in kind. But here, at the threshold of true mastery, lies one of the most subtle and powerful tests of all. As the stream of abundance begins to flow, the instinct of the fearful ego is to build a dam. It is the temptation to grasp, to clutch, to control what is coming, for fear that it might stop. This is the stranglehold of attachment, and it is the very force that will stop the flow you have worked so diligently to create. We must now learn the great paradox of receiving. That which you clutch, you crush. That which you hold with an open hand can be yours forever. We must learn the sacred art of detachment. Let us first draw a critical distinction, for detachment is not indifference. It is not the absence of desire. Desire is a sacred, creative impulse. It is the voice of life itself seeking fuller expression through you. The pure, clean feeling of wanting to create, to experience, to become more. is a divine signal. It feels expansive, joyful, and exciting. It is the universe pointing you toward your own becoming. Attachment, however, is not desire. Attachment is the fearful belief that you cannot be happy or whole until your desire is fulfilled. It is the needy, contracted energy of the ego that says, "I must have this to be okay." Desire is a creative pull from the future. Attachment is a fearful push from the present state of lack. And as we know, the universe does not respond to your desire. It responds to your dominant feeling. If your dominant feeling is the anxious, grasping, needy energy of attachment, you are broadcasting a powerful signal of "I don't have," and you are strangling your own creation in its cradle. Let us use a simple, modern metaphor. Imagine you are ordering a product from a vast, infinitely reliable online store. Let's call it universe.com. You browse the catalog of all possibilities and you select what you want: a life of financial freedom. The Add to Cart button is the clarity of your intention. The checkout process is where you must pay, not with money, but with the currency of feeling. You practice the art of assumption, you feel the relief and joy of already having it, and you click Confirm Order. In that moment, you receive a confirmation page in your soul. It is a deep, quiet, inner knowing that the order has been received and is being processed. Now, the journey of detachment begins. The anxious customer, operating from a place of attachment, begins to panic. They refresh the tracking page every 30 seconds. Where is it? Has it shipped yet? Is it lost? They call customer service multiple times a day, demanding answers. Their entire life is put on hold, their happiness contingent upon the arrival of the package. The energy they are projecting is one of distrust, of disbelief, of scarcity. They are, in effect, constantly telling the universe, "I don't believe you are going to deliver." Now consider the wise customer, the one who practices detachment. They place the order with the same clarity and pay with the same heartfelt feeling. They see the inner confirmation page and they trust it. They close the browser and go about their life. They do not worry about the logistics. They do not obsess over the delivery date. They have a calm, underlying knowing that the system is reliable and the package is on its way. Their happiness is not on hold. They find joy in their present day, knowing their good is coming. This is detachment. It is not that they no longer want the package. They simply have absolute faith in the delivery system. Detachment is the ultimate expression of faith. It is trusting the how and the when to the master logistics of the universe, which can see all the routes and all the shortcuts that are invisible to your limited viewpoint. Your insistence on controlling the how and your desire manifesting in one specific way, through one specific channel, is like telling the delivery driver he is only allowed to use one single road, even if that road is blocked. You may be cutting yourself off from 1,000 other, faster, more magical routes. Another way to feel this is to imagine your desire as a beautiful living butterfly. It sees you, and it is drawn to the flower of your joyful, open energy. It gently flutters down and lands upon your open palm. This is the moment a desire has been impressed upon the universal field. Now, what is your next move? The attached, fearful response is to snatch your hand shut. "I've got it. It's mine." But what happens when you do that? You crush the delicate wings. You kill the very thing you were trying to possess. This is what happens when you get an initial sign of success, a small contract, a new idea, and you immediately seize it with the energy of fear and control, trying to force it into a predictable outcome. The detached response is to keep your palm open. You breathe. You admire the butterfly's beauty without needing to own it. You allow it to be there, trusting that its presence is a gift. With an open palm, the butterfly is free to stay, and it often will. And even if it flies away, your hand remains open. a beautiful and receptive landing place for the next butterfly and the next. A clenched fist cannot receive anything. An open hand can receive everything. So how do you practice this? How do you live with an open hand when you want something so much? You practice by living as if. You live as if the confirmation email has been received and the package is guaranteed to arrive. You stop putting your life on hold. If you desire wealth so you can travel, don't wait until you are a millionaire to be joyful. Find a way to bring the feeling of adventure into your life now. Go to a new part of your city, visit a museum, take a day trip. You are demonstrating to the universe that your happiness is not contingent on the outcome. Your happiness is a choice you are making in the present moment. And paradoxically, this present moment happiness is the most powerfully magnetic frequency you can emit. It tells the universe, I am already whole. I am already happy. I am not needy. I am simply open to more. This is the state of non-resistance. This is the state of flow. When you are happy now, you are no longer broadcasting the energy of lack, and you finally become a perfect vibrational match for the desire you have placed. This is not a passive state of resignation. It is an active state of trust. A trust that is not blind, but is rooted in a deep understanding of the nature of reality. When you place an order online, you trust because you know there is a warehouse, a logistical system, a delivery network. You trust in the unseen process. Likewise, to truly trust the universal delivery system, it helps to understand where your order is being held before it arrives in your physical world. It is not in some vague, imaginary cloud. It exists as a fully formed reality in a dimension that is just as real as this one, waiting for the right conditions to precipitate into your experience. It is being held for you in the vast, energetic warehouse of all creation. To deepen our faith and make detachment our natural state, we must now explore this warehouse. We must turn our attention to the quantum field of all possibilities. To practice detachment is the ultimate act of faith, but faith need not be blind. A deep, abiding trust is not built on wishful thinking. It is built upon an understanding of the fundamental nature of reality. You have learned to trust the delivery system of the universe, and now we shall go inside the warehouse. We will pull back the curtain on the mechanics of creation itself. Here, in this space of understanding, the ancient wisdom of the mystics and the startling discoveries of modern physics shake hands and agree. We are about to explore the invisible source of all material things, the energetic fabric from which worlds are woven. The modern name for this is the quantum field. The ancient names were the mind of God, the ether, the waters of creation, the Tao. The name is unimportant. The truth it points to is everything. At its most fundamental level, the world is not what it seems. The chair you are sitting on, the body you inhabit, the solid walls around you, they appear solid, but they are not. If you were to zoom in, past the molecules, past the atoms, into the strange and wondrous realm of subatomic particles, all solidity dissolves. What you would find is a shimmering, vibrating, incomprehensible dance of energy. And the most profound discovery of quantum physics is that these fundamental particles of reality do not exist as tiny, fixed things until they are observed. Before the moment of observation, a particle, an electron for example, does not exist in a single place. It exists in a state of pure potential, a wave of probability, meaning it is potentially everywhere and nowhere at all at once. It is only the act of measurement, the act of looking for it, the introduction of a conscious observer that collapses this wave of infinite potential into a single, localized event, a particle in a specific time and place. The universe, at its core, seems to wait for a command from consciousness before it decides what to become. Now, let this sink into the very marrow of your bones. If the act of observation is what turns infinite probability into a specific particle reality, then what are you? You are not just a collection of particles. You are a center of consciousness. You are an observer. Could it be that your focused attention, charged with the potent energy of your feeling, is the creative force that observes one single probability out of an infinite number and commands it to coalesce into your physical experience? This is the secret the sages have always known. You are not a victim of a predetermined world. You are a co-creator, participating in the constant unfolding of reality through the power of your own focused awareness. The quantum field is not something out there. It is the very medium in which you live and breathe and have your being. It is the intelligent, responsive, and infinitely powerful raw material of all that is. Let us use a metaphor that your mind can grasp. Imagine the quantum field as a vast, infinite, three-dimensional canvas, stretching in all directions forever. This canvas is already primed and ready, and upon this canvas is an invisible, intelligent substance, a universal paint of pure energy. This paint is not inert, it is alive. It holds within it the potential for every color, every shape, every texture, every creation imaginable. The field is not empty, it is completely full, pregnant with all possibilities. You, as a conscious observer, are the artist standing before this infinite canvas. Your thoughts are the preliminary sketches. When you think about a desire, you create a faint, energetic outline upon the canvas, a subtle blueprint. But a sketch alone has no substance. It is merely a ghost of an idea. What gives it substance? What dips the brush into the living paint of the universe and makes the image real? It is your feeling. Your feeling is the activating agent. A thought of wealth without the feeling of abundance is a dry brushstroke. It leaves no mark. But a thought of wealth, charged with the deep, resonant feeling of gratitude, relief, and peace, is a brushstroke thick with vibrant, living color. It draws upon the universal paint of the field, and the image on the canvas begins to glow, to solidify, to take on dimension. You are not creating the paint. The energy of the universe is not yours to create. You are simply the artist giving it form through your focused thought and feeling. So, if this field contains an infinite number of possible realities, how do you choose one? How do you select the reality where you are prosperous and joyful over the one where you are struggling and anxious? You do not pull that reality toward you like a rope. You do not chase it. You simply tune yourself to it. Every possible reality, every single potential experience already exists as a complete energetic pattern in the field. Each pattern has a unique frequency, a unique vibrational signature. The reality of your crushing debt has a frequency composed of the vibrations of fear, shame, and anxiety. The reality of your overflowing abundance also has its own frequency. It is composed of the vibrations of peace, freedom, gratitude, and ease. These two realities are like two different radio stations being broadcast simultaneously. You have, up until now, kept your personal radio dial locked on the frequency of lack, and so that is the only music you have been able to hear. The work of manifestation is the art of consciously, deliberately changing your station. Your feeling state is your tuning dial. When you practice generating the currency of feeling, when you embody the state of the wish fulfilled, you are turning your dial away from the static of lack and tuning it precisely to the clear, beautiful music of your desired reality. The old reality does not vanish. You simply phase out of resonance with it. The new reality does not magically appear. You simply phase into resonance with it. It was always there, waiting for you to tune in. This understanding will fundamentally change your concept of who you are. You are not a single fixed personality, a static entity trapped in a set of circumstances. You are a fluid, dynamic consciousness with the power to select from an infinite menu of possible selves. Right now, in this moment, there is a version of you that is a powerful, peaceful, beloved millionaire, living a life of profound contribution and joy. That millionaire, you exists as a stable, coherent pattern of potential in the quantum field. There also exists the struggling you, the victim you, the slightly better off but still worried you. All of these potential selves are available to you. You are choosing which one to embody, which one to make real, with every thought you think and every feeling you feel. Your job is not to struggle and strain to become the millionaire you. Your job is to select the millionaire you, and you do this by aligning with that version of yourself. How would that version of you think? How would they feel? How would they walk, talk, and breathe? They would not be feeling desperate for money. They would be feeling grateful for their abundance. They would not be worried about the future. They would be excited by it. By adopting the feeling state of that ideal self now, you begin to activate that pattern in the field. You are choosing that costume from the infinite wardrobe of being and putting it on. You live and breathe from that state, and the world must then rearrange itself to conform to your new choice of identity. This field is not just a chaotic soup of energy. It is profoundly intelligent and exquisitely organized. When you place your order with the universe, when you create a clear blueprint with your thought and energize it with your feeling, the field responds. It earmarks that specific probability for you. It gathers the energy and begins to consolidate that potential reality into a coherent, stable pattern. It is held for you in a perfect state, waiting for one thing, for you to become a stable, vibrational match for it. This is not a vague hope. It is a precise, energetic holding account. It is a cosmic trust fund set up in your name, containing every desire you have ever launched with true passion and belief. This personal account, this divine holding pattern for your good, has a name. We will call it your vibrational escrow. We have stood in awe before the infinite, intelligent canvas of the quantum field, the universal source of all creation. We understand now that through our focused consciousness, we are the artists giving form to this limitless energy. But this understanding can lead to a subtle and profound anxiety. When I launch a desire, when I paint my masterpiece upon the canvas with my feeling, where does it go? In the gap between my creation and its physical appearance, does it simply evaporate? Can it be lost? Is it vulnerable? The anxious mind needs reassurance, and the universe, in its perfect and loving design, provides it. Your desires are not cast into a chaotic void. Every significant creation you have ever energized with true feeling is captured, protected, and held for you in a perfect, incorruptible holding account. It is a sacred trust, a divine repository for your good. We will call this your vibrational escrow. To understand this cosmic principle, let us first look at its earthly reflection. In the world of finance and real estate, an escrow account is a common and essential tool. When you buy a house, you do not simply hand a suitcase of cash to the seller. The money is placed in escrow, a neutral third-party account. The seller is protected, knowing the funds are real and secured. You, the buyer, are protected, knowing the funds will only be released once all the conditions of the sale are met: a clear title, a successful inspection. The escrow account is a safe, untouchable holding space that eliminates risk and guarantees the integrity of the transaction for both parties. It creates a space of trust where a complex creation can come together seamlessly. The universe employs an identical, though infinitely more elegant, system for the manifestations of your soul. Now, let us open the books on your personal vibrational escrow account. This account was opened in your name at the moment of your birth. Every time you have a pure, heartfelt desire, you are creating a new asset to be deposited into this account. A powerful surge of love for an imagined partner, a moment of profound peace, imagining a debt-free life, a jolt of creative excitement for a new business venture, These are not just fleeting feelings. They are substantial, energetic deposits. The universe, like a master record keeper, captures the precise energetic signature of that fulfilled reality and places it in your escrow. Inside this account is not just the idea of wealth, but the fully formed, energetically real experience of it. The thriving business, the healed body, the loving relationships, the creative masterpiece, they are all there, existing in their perfected high-frequency form, shimmering with the light of pure potential, waiting for you. The impartial and unwavering laws of the universe act as the escrow agent. This agent does not judge you. It does not care about your past or your perceived worthiness. Its only job is to safeguard your assets and to execute the terms of the escrow agreement. And what are the terms? What are the conditions that must be met for these fabulous assets to be released from the energetic realm into your physical, experiential reality? There is only one condition. It is not time. It is not struggle. It is not sacrifice. The sole condition for the release of your good from escrow is vibrational alignment. It is that simple and that absolute. Everything held for you in your vibrational escrow is, by its very nature, of an extremely high and pure frequency. The feeling of total health is a high frequency. The feeling of unconditional love is a high frequency. The feeling of peaceful, joyous abundance is a high frequency. Now, look at the frequency you are broadcasting in your day-to-day life. This is your point of attraction. If your daily state is one of worry, doubt, impatience, and frustration, you are broadcasting a low, heavy, dissonant frequency. There is a vibrational gap between you, the receiver, and the gift that is waiting for you. The universal escrow agent cannot release a high-frequency asset to a low-frequency recipient. It is a physical and energetic impossibility. It would be like trying to plug a modern, high-powered appliance into an ancient, faulty electrical socket. The socket would blow. The appliance would not work. The circuit would break. The law of vibration, the escrow agent, is protecting you from a circuit overload. It holds your good in safekeeping until you have upgraded your own wiring, until you have raised your personal frequency to be able to safely and joyfully receive the power and goodness that is waiting. Your work, therefore, is not to create your desire. It has already been created. Your work is to become the person who can receive it. Your work is to raise your own dominant, daily vibration through all the tools we have: disgust, gratitude, forgiveness, silence, seeing abundance until your personal frequency finally matches the frequency of the gift in your escrow account. The moment you achieve a stable vibrational match, the conditions of the agreement have been met. The escrow account opens automatically, and the universal agent releases the asset, which then flows into your life through the path of least resistance, often in ways that seem surprising or magical. This understanding changes everything. It obliterates the two greatest enemies of manifestation, fear and impatience. The fear of loss becomes irrelevant. You can never lose what is in your escrow account. It has your energetic name on it. It cannot be accidentally given to someone else. Another person's success does not diminish what is yours. Their good is coming from their own escrow account. This knowledge completely removes all need for competition, jealousy, or panic. Your good is your good, and it is safely held for you, guaranteed. The need for impatience also dissolves. When you know with unshakable certainty that your desire is already a finished creation, safely stored and waiting for you, you can relax, you can breathe, you stop striving and start allowing. You are no longer a frantic inventor trying to create something from scratch. You are a joyful heir, proceeding through the beautiful and natural process of coming into your inheritance. This framework also explains all failed manifestations. The truth is, there are no failed manifestations. There are only assets sitting, unclaimed, in escrow. The person who desired them simply never met the vibrational conditions for their release. They gave up too soon. They succumbed to doubt and fell back into their old frequency, never building the resonant bridge to their own creation. The gift is still there, waiting forever, for them to simply do the work of becoming a match to it. You can, at any time, access your account statement. This is not just a metaphor. You can do this in your quiet, meditative moments. After you have stilled your mind and body, you can set the intention to connect with the feeling of your escrowed good. Don't try to see it with your eyes. Try to feel it with your soul. What does the feeling of that thriving business feel like in your body? It feels like confidence, excitement, and purpose. So, generate those feelings now. What does the feeling of that perfect partner feel like? It feels like safety, being seen, and deep contentment. Generate those feelings now. By practicing feeling the essence of your escrowed desires, you are doing the work. You are building the bridge. You are looking at your divine bank statement, which shows an infinite balance, and that act of looking generates the very feeling of wealth that acts as the key to the vault itself. You are attuning yourself to your own waiting fortune. So take a deep breath and let it go. Your wealth is safe. Your health is safe. Your love is safe. It is all held for you, under your name, in a vault that cannot be broken into or destroyed. Knowing this, truly knowing this in the core of your being, changes your entire posture toward life. You no longer need to act out of a desperate, anxious hustle to make things happen. That is the energy of someone who believes they are starting from zero. You are not starting from zero. You are starting from an account that is already full. Therefore, your actions can now come from a completely different place. They can come from a place of joyful cooperation with the inevitable. They can come from a place of alignment, not of struggle. This is the profound difference between the anxious hustle of the ego and the graceful, powerful, and effective movements of inspired action. You now stand in the profound and peaceful knowledge that your good is already created. It is held for you, safe and secure, in the vast, loving repository of your vibrational escrow account. This single transformative understanding must now fundamentally alter your relationship with action. You are no longer an orphan in the universe, fighting for scraps and trying to force a reluctant world to provide for you. You are a wealthy heir, living in the calm and joyful anticipation of an inheritance that is already yours. The orphan hustles, the heir receives. The orphan acts out of fear and desperation. The heir acts out of joy and alignment. Today, we learn to distinguish between these two worlds. We learn to abandon the back-breaking, soul-crushing paradigm of anxious hustle and to embrace the graceful, powerful, and miraculous flow of inspired action. Let us first diagnose the pathology of the hustle. Our modern culture worships at this altar. It is a religion of the grind, a cult of sleepless nights and relentless productivity. We are told that success is a war of attrition, and the last one standing, the most exhausted, wins. This entire philosophy is built upon the foundational lie of scarcity. It is the panicked energy of someone who believes, in their core, it's all up to me. If I don't make it happen, it won't happen. The universe is indifferent, and I must bend it to my will through sheer force. This is the vow of scarcity made manifest in your daily calendar. The feeling of the hustle is unmistakable. It is a frantic, contracted energy. It is fueled by cortisol and adrenaline, the hormones of stress and survival. It feels like you are constantly pushing a massive boulder uphill. It is characterized by a sense of urgency that is rooted not in excitement, but in fear, the fear of missing out, the fear of falling behind, the fear of not being enough. When you are in the hustle, your mind is a frantic calculator, constantly assessing threats, micromanaging details, and trying to control every possible outcome. It is exhausting, and it is profoundly inefficient. To operate in a state of anxious hustle is to broadcast the universe your core belief. This is hard. I am struggling. I am not supported. And the universe, the perfect mirror, dutifully responds by giving you more things to struggle against. You try to force open a door and you find it has been bolted twice. You push against a person and they push back harder. You are rowing your boat with all your might, sweating and straining, directly against a powerful, invisible current. You may make some small, incremental progress, but the energy expenditure is immense and the results are meager. This is the path to burnout. Burnout is not a badge of honor. It is not a sign of your dedication. Burnout is a cry for help from your soul. It is your inner being, your higher self, screaming, "Stop, this is not the way." You are fighting the flow of your own life. You are fighting against the very current that is trying to carry you home. The anxious hustle is the path of maximum resistance. Inspired action is the path of minimum resistance. They are two entirely different ways of life. Now, let us turn our attention to the nature of inspired action. Inspired action is not laziness. It is not passivity. It is often more potent and more world-changing than a lifetime of hustling, but its source is completely different. Inspired action is born from a state of alignment. It is the natural unfolding of the creative impulse, arising from the quiet sanctuary of your inner being. It is the gentle, unmistakable nudge you feel after a period of silence or meditation. It is the good idea that seems to pop into your head out of nowhere while you are on a walk or in the shower. This is the universe, your higher self, whispering the next logical step on the path of least resistance. It is the delivery system of your vibrational escrow, giving you the simple, next step instructions for receiving your package. The feeling of inspired action is the key to its identification. Unlike the frantic, contracted energy of the hustle, inspired action feels calm. It feels clear. There is a sense of quiet certainty about it, even if it doesn't make perfect logical sense to your rational mind. It feels light. It feels expansive. It often feels joyful and effortless. When you are engaged in an inspired action, you may lose track of time. You enter a flow state, a state of deep and blissful engagement where the work feels more like play. There is no sense of pushing or straining. Instead, there is a feeling of being pulled. You feel as though you are a conduit, a channel for a creative energy that is moving through you. It does not require immense willpower to get started, because the energy to perform the act is inherent in the inspiration itself. It wants to be born through you. Your only job is to get out of the way and allow it to happen. Let us deepen our metaphor of the river. Anxious hustle is the act of standing on the riverbank, trying to push the water toward the ocean. It is absurd, arrogant, and utterly futile. Inspired action is the realization that you are the river. Your only job is to flow. The river does not stress about its destination. It holds a deep, quiet, gravitational, knowing that it will inevitably reach the sea. It does not smash itself against a great boulder in its path. It finds the path of least resistance. It flows around it. The boulder, the obstacle, serves only to guide the river's course, not to stop it. Sometimes the river is a mighty, rushing torrent, carving canyons through the landscape. This is when your inspired action is big, bold, and powerful. At other times, the river is a slow, gentle meander, winding peacefully through a meadow. This is when your inspired action is to rest, to integrate, to simply be. Both states are equally valid. Both are part of the journey to the ocean. The wise soul learns to honor the rhythm of their own river, to flow when it is time to flow, and to be still when it is time to be still. So, how do you know the difference in the moment? How do you discern a true intuitive nudge from a fear-based impulse of the ego? You must become a master of self-inquiry. You must create a sacred pause, a moment of stillness between the impulse to act and the action itself. In this pause, you put the impulse on trial. You become a wise judge, and you ask it a series of diagnostic questions. The first question is always, what is the feeling behind this impulse? Close your eyes and feel it in your body. Does it feel like expansion, lightness, and excitement? Or does it feel like contraction, heaviness, and fear? Your body knows the truth and will never lie to you. The second question, am I doing this to get a result, or because it feels like the authentic thing to do? Hustle is always transactional, a means to a desperate end. Inspiration is an act of authentic self-expression, where the joy is in the doing itself, regardless of the outcome. The third question, does this action feel heavy or light? Imagine carrying it out. Does the thought of it feel like a dead weight, a chore you have to force yourself to do? That is your guidance system telling you there is resistance here, that this is not the path of flow. Or does the thought of it feel light, almost buoyant, as if it would be fun and easy to do? That is the hallmark of inspiration. The fourth question, am I trying to control the outcome? If you find your mind racing ahead, planning every contingency, trying to manipulate every variable, you are in the energy of hustle. Inspired action is focused only on the integrity of the present step, trusting that the next step will be revealed in its perfect time. The final, and perhaps most important question, where did this idea come from? Did it arise from a quiet space? Did it appear as a gentle insight after you let a problem go? Or was it born from a frantic mental calculation, a pro and con list generated by your anxious, analytical mind? Inspiration comes from the silence. Hustle comes from the noise. Consider two scenarios. In the first, a person needs to generate more business. Operating from hustle, they create a list of 100 strangers to cold call. The process feels heavy, they face constant rejection, and they end the day exhausted and disheartened, having broadcast the energy of desperation for hours. In the second scenario, the person stills their mind. They release their need for a specific outcome and ask for guidance. While meditating, or later that day while washing dishes, a name of an old colleague they haven't spoken to in 5 years pops into their head. There is no logical reason for it, but the thought feels light and interesting. They follow this inspired nudge, make the single phone call, and during a friendly conversation, the old colleague mentions they are looking for exactly the service our person provides. One call, born of inspiration, is infinitely more powerful than 100 calls born of desperation. This leads to a final, crucial understanding about action. Sometimes, the most powerful and inspired action you can take is to do nothing at all. To consciously choose inaction, not from a place of fear or procrastination, but from a place of deep trust, is a master-level skill. It is the wisdom to know when the seed is germinating beneath the soil and must not be disturbed. It is the confidence to wait for the river to rise, rather than trying to dig a new channel with a spoon. For the mind trained in the religion of hustle, this is terrifying. But for the soul aligned with the universe, it is an act of profound faith. Often, it is in these periods of trusted stillness that the universe works its greatest magic, rearranging the entire board in your favor. When the nudge to act does come, it will often be a small, simple next step. Tidy your workspace. Read one chapter of a book. Write one paragraph. Send one email. Go for a walk in a new direction. Do not dismiss these small nudges. They are the universe's way of building momentum. Each small act of alignment opens the channel a little wider, allowing a greater flow of inspiration to come through. As you learn to live in this state of flow, following the gentle, inspired nudges, you will begin to notice that the universe is not just nudging you, it is speaking to you. It is leaving you clues, It is engaging you in a constant, living conversation. To navigate this conversation, you must learn its vocabulary. You must learn to read the language of symbols and synchronicities. As you learn to quiet your own inner world and act only on the clean, clear energy of inspiration, you begin to notice something remarkable. The world outside begins to change. It seems to soften. It seems to cooperate. The path of least resistance you have been seeking within yourself starts to appear as a lighted pathway before you. This is because you have initiated a dialogue. You have sent out a clear, coherent signal from a place of trust and alignment. And now, the living, intelligent universe has begun to speak back. This is not a one-way monologue where you simply send out desires and hope for the best. It is a constant, dynamic, and magical conversation. Your part of the conversation is your feeling state and your inspired action. The universe's part of the conversation is the language of symbols and synchronicities. Learning to recognize and interpret this language is the key to navigating the river of life with effortless grace and unerring confidence. What is a synchronicity? The term, coined by the great psychoanalyst Carl Jung, means, quite simply, a meaningful coincidence. It is the uncanny and often startling alignment between an inner state of thought, a question, a feeling, and an outer event, in a way that seems to defy probability and logic. It is more than just a coincidence. A coincidence is running into a friend in a large city. A synchronicity is spending all morning agonizing over whether to accept a job offer in that city, and then turning a corner and running into that same friend whom you haven't seen in 10 years, who tells you they just moved to that city and have never been happier. The event is layered with a feeling of personal significance, a jolt of recognition, a sense that you have just received a message. It is the universe winking at you. It is a clear and direct reply in the ongoing conversation. When you begin this path, these events may seem rare and startling. As you become more aligned, they become the everyday language of your reality. To learn this language, you must first learn its alphabet. The universe is incredibly creative and will speak to you in ways that are personally tailored to you, but there are common forms this communication takes. One of the most common in our modern world is the phenomenon of repeating numbers. You may find yourself glancing at the clock at exactly 11:11 every day. You might see the number 444 on license plates, receipts, and street signs. It is tempting to run to a book or a website to find a fixed meaning for these numbers, but this is a mistake. Think of these numbers not as words with a set definition, but as a gentle chime, a ping from the universe. Their primary purpose is to make you pause, to pull you out of the trance of your unconscious thoughts and into the present moment. When you see your number sequence, the practice is to simply stop, take a breath, and ask, what was I just thinking about? What was I just feeling? The number is a cosmic highlighter, drawing your attention to your own inner state at that exact moment. It is a call to awareness. Over time, you will develop your own personal meaning. Perhaps seeing 444 always appears when you are on the right track with a creative project, and so it becomes your personal symbol of, yes, keep going. The universe also speaks through the symbolic language of nature. You may be pondering a major life change, feeling trapped and constricted, and a hawk, a symbol of vision and freedom, suddenly circles low directly above your head. You may be healing from a past hurt, and everywhere you look, you see butterflies, the universal symbol of transformation. These are not mere accidents, they are reflections. The outer world is mirroring your inner process back to you, offering encouragement and validation. This extends to overheard conversations, song lyrics, and written words. How many times have you been wrestling with a problem only to have the perfect piece of advice float out from a stranger's conversation as you walk past? Or you turn on the radio and the lyrics of the song that is playing seem to speak directly to the depths of your soul, articulating your exact feeling or situation. These are moments when the veil thins, when the seemingly separate streams of life converge to deliver a message directly to you. So, how do you learn to read this secret alphabet? The first and most important rule is that you must be present to win. You cannot see the signs if your face is buried in your phone, your ears are plugged with headphones, and your mind is lost in a whirlwind of anxious thought. You must cultivate a state of open, receptive awareness. You must walk through your world with your senses open, with a quiet curiosity about what might be revealed. The second rule is that the translation key is not in your intellect, it is in your body and your feelings. When you experience a potential synchronicity, the question is not, what does this mean logically? The question is, how does this make me feel? Does the event create a feeling of expansion in your chest, a sense of lightness, a feeling of warmth and peace? This is the feeling of yes, this is confirmation. Or does it create a feeling of contraction, a slight unease, a sense of dissonance? This is the feeling of no, or at least pause. Your body is a flawless truth detector. Your emotional resonance is the only dictionary you will ever need for this language. A crucial point is that you must not go hunting for signs. To desperately look for a sign is a form of anxious hustle. It is broadcasting the energy of doubt. Universe, I don't trust the process, so please give me a sign so I can relax. That energy will only repel the very clarity you seek. Instead, you live your life from a place of trust. You follow your inspired action, and you remain in a state of open awareness. The signs will then appear, not because you begged for them, but as a natural consequence of your alignment. When a true synchronicity occurs, it will hit you with a clarity that requires no debate. It will feel like a puzzle piece clicking perfectly into place. If you have to ask yourself over and over, was that a sign? Should I read into that? It probably was not. True messages from the universe arrive with their own undeniable certainty. It can be incredibly helpful to keep a journal of these events. When you write them down, you are honoring the conversation. And as you look back over your journal after a few weeks or months, you will begin to see patterns. You will discover that the universe has developed a personal shorthand, a unique symbolic language just for you. What is the function of this cosmic dialogue? Why does the universe speak to us in this way? Synchronicities serve several key purposes on your journey. The first is confirmation. They often appear shortly after you have made a difficult but aligned decision or taken a leap of faith. They are the universe's way of saying, well done. You heard the whisper of inspiration and you acted. You are on the right path. Keep going. The second function is guidance. When you are at a crossroads, unsure of which way to turn, a synchronicity can appear like a signpost, gently illuminating one path over the others. It may not make logical sense at the time, but it will feel like the path of light and ease. The third function is simply encouragement. When you are in a period of doubt, when your old fears are resurfacing, a beautiful and unexpected synchronicity can arrive like a hug from the universe, a loving reminder that you are not alone, that you are seen, and that a vast and benevolent intelligence is orchestrating your life in ways you cannot possibly comprehend. As you become more fluent in this language, you will notice one of the most consistent messages the universe will send you. It will constantly show you evidence of abundance. You will think about wanting a new client, and you will see your friend celebrating a huge business success on social media. The old, unaligned mind would see this and feel jealousy, a sense of lack. But the new, awakened mind sees it as a powerful synchronicity. The universe is showing you what is possible. It is saying, see, abundance is flowing. This frequency is available. Your friend has tuned into it. You can too. This is a message that directly confronts the greatest illusion that keeps humanity in a state of suffering, the illusion of separation and competition. It is a direct invitation to dissolve the idea of the other and step into the truth of a shared, infinite reality. You are now learning the secret language of the universe. You are beginning to see the winks and nudges, the symbols and synchronicities that affirm you are in a constant dialogue with a living, responsive intelligence. As you become more fluent in this conversation, you will notice that the universe often speaks to you through the lives of others. You will hold a desire in your heart, and you will see it manifest with stunning precision for a friend, a colleague, or even a stranger on social media. The old, conditioned self, the ego mind, will immediately react to this with a familiar, painful sting. It is the sting of comparison, of envy, of the terrible feeling that you have been overlooked, that someone else has received the blessing that was meant for you. This reaction is one of the most powerful and insidious forms of self-sabotage. It is a direct prayer for more lack. Today we will face this shadow. We will expose it for the illusion that it is. We will learn to dissolve the imaginary line between self and other, and in doing so, we will transform the poison of envy into the most powerful catalyst for our own abundance. The prison of comparison is built on the illusion of separation. It is the foundational belief of the ego that I am a separate entity, a fragile identity in a world of other, separate entities, all competing for a limited supply of resources, limited money, limited love, limited success, limited recognition. In this worldview, life is a zero-sum game. For me to win, someone else must lose. If someone else gets a bigger piece of the pie, my piece is inherently smaller. This mindset is the source of all jealousy, all competition, all striving for status. It is a state of perpetual warfare, and it is utterly exhausting. When you see another person's success from within this prison, it feels like a personal defeat. Their joy highlights your lack, their wealth underscores your poverty, and so you feel that bitter, contracting emotion of envy. Let us be very clear about what is happening on an energetic level in that moment. When you look at another's abundance and feel envy, you are making a powerful, heartfelt, emotional declaration to the universe. You are screaming into the quantum field. That experience of joy and wealth is separate from me. It is not for me. It is foreign to my reality. And the universe, which only ever says yes to your dominant vibration, responds, "You are right. It is separate from you. It is not for you." Envy is the most tragically effective way of ensuring that the very thing you desire will never, ever come to you. We must now dismantle the prison. We must see the illusion of separation for what it is. The most profound truth of all spiritual traditions, the ultimate secret of existence, is this: there is no separation. There is only one consciousness, one single field of being, one infinite intelligence, expressing itself in a multitude of forms. You are not a drop of water in the ocean. You are the entire ocean, expressing itself for a time as a single, unique drop. Let us embrace this metaphor fully. Imagine that all of consciousness is a great, boundless ocean. It is one body of water. Each individual person, you, me, your friend, your perceived rivalis, a wave forming on the surface of this ocean. A wave can be magnificent and towering, or it can be a gentle lapping ripple. It has a unique form, a unique expression, a temporary identity, but it is never, not for a single nanosecond, separate from the ocean. Its very substance is the ocean. The wave is the ocean in motion. Now, from the limited perspective of a single wave, it might look at another, taller wave and feel small, inadequate, or competitive. It might think, that wave took all the water, all the energy. But from the perspective of the ocean itself, this is a ludicrous thought. The ocean knows that the tall wave is simply the ocean celebrating its own power. It is the ocean expressing a possibility. And what happens when a great wave swells? It creates a powerful surge. It pulls the water level up all around it, making it easier for other waves to form and rise. The success of one wave is not a threat to the others. It is a testament to the potential of all waves, because they are all made of the same water. This is the energetic truth of reality. The success of another person does not diminish the pool of abundance available to you. It expands it. It demonstrates what is possible. It energizes the field with the frequency of success, creating a powerful draft, a slipstream for you to follow. When your friend signs a major client, it is not their success. It is the ocean of consciousness demonstrating the reality of success, and you are that very same ocean. Their success is a synchronicity, a cosmic preview, a loving message from the universe saying, "Look, this is possible, this frequency is available, this could be you, get ready." The ancient sages of India had a phrase for this understanding, Tatvam Asi. It means, thou art that. When you look at another, you are looking at another expression of the same divine consciousness that you are. When you look at their success, you are looking at a potential version of your own. The practice, then, is to retrain your perception. When you see another person's beautiful home, your practice is to dissolve the idea of other and to see it as the universe displaying the quality of beautiful home for your benefit. When you see another person's loving relationship, you see the universe displaying the frequency of loving relationship. You are not looking at their life. You are looking at a catalogue of possibilities for your own. The moment you can look at another's joy and see it not as something separate from you, but as a demonstration of a frequency that is also available to you, the entire structure of envy collapses. It is replaced by a feeling of excitement and recognition. You see their success and you think, "Ah, there it is, the very thing I was asking for. It's getting closer." This leads us to one of the most powerful and transformative spiritual practices available to humanity. It is the direct antidote to envy. In the Buddhist tradition, it is known as mudita. It means sympathetic or appreciative joy, the practice of feeling genuine, unselfish joy in the good fortune of others. While the ego sees this as insane, the soul recognizes it as the highest wisdom. To practice mudita is the ultimate energetic hack. When you see someone experiencing the very abundance you desire, you have a choice. You can feel the contracting poison of envy, which pushes that abundance away. Or you can consciously choose to feel the expansive joy of mudita, which magnetizes that abundance directly to you. How does this work? First, by genuinely celebrating their success, you are aligning your own vibrational frequency with the frequency of that success. You are telling the universe, "Yes, I love this, more of this, please." You are tuning your instrument to the very note you wish to play. Second, and this is the most magical part, you get to experience the feeling of that success immediately, for free. Since feeling is the currency of creation, by borrowing their joy, by feeling their triumph as your own, you are making a massive deposit into your vibrational escrow account. You are literally paying for your own future success with the currency of their present success. It is the most beautiful and selfless form of manifestation. Let's make this a practical tool you can use every day. The next time you are scrolling through your phone or talking to a friend and you feel that familiar sting of jealousy, do not shame yourself. That only adds another layer of negative energy. Instead, perform this simple alchemical practice. First, acknowledge the feeling with compassion. Say to yourself internally, "Ah, there is the old voice of separation. There is the ego, feeling small and scared. I see you. It's okay." By greeting it with awareness, you remove its power. Second, consciously shift your focus. Take your focus off the person and place it on the success itself. See the beautiful car, the happy family, the successful business, not as theirs, but as a beautiful creation, an expression of universal abundance made manifest. Third, find something you can genuinely admire or appreciate about it. Perhaps it is their courage, their dedication, their creativity, their willingness to take a risk. Find one authentic point of connection. Finally, send them a blessing. You can do this silently from your heart. May this success bring you infinite joy. May it continue to expand. May it bless you and everyone you touch. In this moment, you have performed an act of spiritual magic. You have transformed the lead of your own egoic pain into the gold of universal love. You have become a force for more good in the world, and by the unwavering law of cause and effect, that good must return to you, multiplied. This entire practice is predicated on releasing the deepest scarcity belief of all, the belief in the finite pie. The ego is convinced that there is only one pie of love, one pie of wealth, one pie of opportunity. It believes that life is a desperate struggle for the biggest slice, but the truth of the quantum field, the truth of the infinite ocean of being, is that the pie is infinite. It is constantly being baked. In fact, every time someone achieves a great success, they are not taking a slice of the pie. They are demonstrating a new recipe. They are adding to the universal cookbook of what is possible, making the entire pie bigger, richer, and more available for everyone. Your friend's success does not diminish your chances. It increases them. It expands the entire field of possibility. There is no other. There is only more of the one us. There is no competition. There is only the endless, joyful, and unique expression of one single, infinitely abundant consciousness. Understanding this prepares us to heal our relationship with the ultimate symbol of this perceived separation and scarcity. It prepares us to finally make peace with the energy of money itself. We have stood in the great, unifying truth that there is no other, that we are all waves in a single, infinite ocean of consciousness. This understanding has allowed us to transform the poison of envy into the medicine of shared joy. Now, we must take this profound realization and apply it to the most charged, most misunderstood, and most divisive symbol in our modern world, money. No other concept has been so thoroughly saturated with the energies of fear, guilt, shame, desire, and judgment. For most people, money is never just money. It is a measure of their worth. It is a symbol of their freedom or their bondage. It is a cruel master or a distant, unattainable savior. We look at money through 1,000 layers of personal and ancestral conditioning, and we almost never see it for what it truly is. To activate the frequency of abundance, we must strip away these layers of illusion. We must cleanse this symbol of all the meaning we have projected onto it and learn to build a new, healthy, and powerful relationship with the energy of money itself. The first and most crucial step is to radically depersonalize money. Money has no opinion about you. It is not a conscious entity that has decided whether you are good enough, smart enough, or worthy enough to have it. It is a tool. It is a form of energy. It is a system of exchange. It is as neutral as electricity. Electricity is not good or bad. It can be used to light a hospital and save a life, or it can be used to power an instrument of torture. The electricity itself is impartial. Its effect is determined entirely by the consciousness that wields it. Money is exactly the same. It is not the root of all evil, nor is it the source of all happiness. It is simply an amplifier. Money amplifies the energy and the character of the person who possesses it. In the hands of a kind, generous, and creative person, money becomes a tool for greater kindness, deeper generosity, and more expansive creativity. In the hands of a fearful, contracted, and insecure person, money becomes a source of greater fear, deeper contraction, and more profound insecurity. The problem is never, ever the money. The problem, and the solution, is always the consciousness through which the money flows. You must release the idea that money is your enemy or your savior. It is neither. It is a resource waiting for your direction. To truly understand this, let us embrace a new metaphor. Think of money not as a solid object to be hoarded, but as water. Water is the element of flow, of life, of nourishment. In its natural state, it is a current, a river, constantly moving, circulating, and bringing life to everything it touches. This is the true nature of money, a current of value that is meant to flow through our lives and through society, nourishing us and facilitating the exchange of our gifts and talents. Now, consider the different ways people relate to a river. The person who operates from a deep-set scarcity mindset, who fears that the river will run dry, will try to build a dam. They hoard the water, stopping its natural flow, creating a stagnant reservoir in their bank account. They believe this makes them safe. But what happens to still water? It becomes lifeless. It breeds algae. It loses its vitality. The hoarded money, cut off from its purpose of circulation, loses its life force. And while they have their stagnant pool, the land downstream their own life, their own joy, the lives of others they could be helping, becomes a barren desert. Then there is the person who feels a deep sense of unworthiness, a void within themselves. They stand by the river and try to drink it all, to use the flow of water to fill the hole inside them. This is the compulsive spender. They are like a sieve. The water flows in and right back out, never truly quenching their thirst, never truly nourishing them. The brief thrill of acquiring something new is immediately replaced by the old, familiar emptiness, and they are left needing another hit, another desperate attempt to feel whole. At the other extreme is the person who has been taught that the river is dangerous or evil. They may have inherited vows of scarcity that equate money with corruption, and so they avoid the river altogether. They choose to live in a self-imposed desert, taking a strange, martyred pride in their thirst, all while the life-giving waters flow freely just a short distance away. The master of abundance, the one who is aligned with the millionaire frequency, relates to the river in a completely different way. They are like a wise and joyful farmer. They do not try to stop the river. They do not fear it. They do not worship it. They respect it. They understand its power and its purpose. They go down to the riverbank and they build intelligent channels. They build irrigation systems. They direct the flow of this life-giving energy with conscious intention. A channel to nourish the fields of their own needs and desires. A channel to water the garden of their family's well-being. A channel to contribute to the village, to nourish their community and the world. They are not the owner of the river. They are a steward of its flow. They know that as long as they maintain their channels and respect the river, it will always flow, because that is its nature. They allow the water to flow in with gratitude, and they allow it to flow out with joy, knowing that all water is part of a single, great, circulatory system, and that which flows out with a blessing must, by law, return. So, how do you become this wise farmer in your own life? You begin by healing your personal relationship with this energy. Stop seeing money as a force and start seeing it as a friend. If money were a person, a supportive and reliable partner, how would you treat it? You wouldn't ignore it until you were desperate. You wouldn't blame it for your problems. You wouldn't cling to it with suffocating neediness. You would treat it with respect. You would pay attention to it. You would plan a future with it. You would speak of it with kindness. You would be grateful for its presence in your life. Begin to personify money in this new, healthy way. Give it a new face, a new character in the theater of your mind. Next, you must practice conscious inflow and outflow. When money comes to you, from any source, no matter how small. Pause for a moment before you deposit it or spend it. Hold it in your hand or visualize it in your account and infuse it with the energy of gratitude. Say, "Thank you, I welcome you. I am grateful for this symbol of abundance." You are acknowledging the flow. Now, when you spend money, transform the act from one of loss into one of blessing. As you pay for your groceries, silently bless the money. I release you with joy. May you bless the farmer, the truck driver, the grocer, and everyone who brought this food to me. May you circulate and multiply and bring prosperity to everyone you touch. In doing this, you are no longer a victim of expenses. You are a conscious director of energetic flow. You are blessing the entire system, and that blessing creates a powerful energetic vacuum that must be filled. The energy you send out is the energy you get back. Finally, pay close attention to the language you use, for your words are spells that cast your reality. Eradicate the phrase, "I can't afford it," from your vocabulary. It is a curse. It is a powerful affirmation of lack. Instead say, "I am choosing to direct my energy elsewhere at this time," or "That is not a priority for me right now." This is a statement of conscious choice from a position of power, not a declaration of victimhood. Notice when you use judgmental phrases like "filthy rich." This judgment creates a wall between you and the very abundance you seek. For a part of you will not want to become something you judge as filthy. Replace it with neutral or positive terms like financially free, prosperous, or abundantly resourced. Every word matters. Every thought matters. You are rewriting the code of your relationship with this powerful, neutral energy. As you practice this, as you begin to see money as a supportive flow rather than a threatening object, you will become incredibly sensitive to the dialogue between your inner state and your financial world. You will begin to notice that every event, every gain, every loss is no longer a random occurrence. It is a piece of direct feedback. It is a reflection in a flawless mirror, showing you exactly what is going on inside of you. It is time now to learn how to read this mirror. Having learned to see money as a neutral current of energy, you are now equipped to engage with your financial life from a place of power and peace. You understand that the flow of this energy into and out of your life is not random. It is a direct response to your inner state. You are now ready to grasp one of the most liberating and empowering principles of conscious creation. Your outer world, in its entirety, is a flawless, instantaneous, and utterly impersonal mirror of your inner world. It has no capacity to lie. It has no agenda to punish or reward you. Its only function is to reflect, with perfect, unwavering accuracy, the totality of your own consciousness back to you. This includes the parts of your consciousness you are aware of, and, more importantly, the parts you are not. When the reflection is beautiful, it is easy to accept this principle, but the true test of your mastery, the true measure of your understanding, comes when the mirror shows you a reflection you do not like. Let us imagine the scene. You have been diligently practicing everything we have discussed. You have been cultivating gratitude, sitting in silence, feeling your escrowed good, and purifying your relationship with money. You feel you are making progress. And then it happens. An unexpected and massive expense lands in your lap. A major client pulls out of a contract for no apparent reason. An investment you were sure of suddenly fails. The mirror shows you a stark and undeniable image of lack. In this moment, you are at the most critical juncture of your entire journey. The conditioned mind, the ego, will immediately scream in your ear. See, it doesn't work. All that spiritual nonsense was a waste of time. You're a fool. You're destined to struggle. The immediate emotional reaction is one of panic, despair, anger, and a crushing sense of betrayal by the universe. To succumb to this reaction is to fail the final exam. It is to shatter the mirror and declare yourself a victim once more. The path of the master is to do something radically different. It is to look into the unpleasant reflection, take a deep breath, and say, "Thank you for the information." Let us use a new metaphor. Your vibrational being is like a high-performance vehicle. Your consciousness is the driver, the universe is the road, and your physical reality is the car's dashboard. When you are driving and suddenly the check engine light illuminates on your dashboard, what is your response? Do you scream at the light? Do you get out a hammer and smash it, hoping the problem will go away? Do you pull over to the side of the road and abandon the car, declaring it a worthless piece of junk? Of course not. That would be insane. A wise driver has a completely different response. They feel a quiet sense of gratitude for the warning. The light is not the problem. The light is a brilliant and helpful piece of technology that is alerting them to a problem under the hood before it becomes catastrophic. The light is their friend. A negative manifestation in your life is a check engine light for your soul. It is not a punishment. It is not a failure. It is a loving, impersonal, and incredibly valuable piece of feedback from the universe. It is saying, pause. There is a belief system, a hidden fear, a pocket of unworthiness, or an old vow of scarcity that is out of alignment with the destination you have chosen. Let's look under the hood together before we go any further. To look under the hood requires a calm and methodical diagnostic process. The moment the check engine light comes on, the first and only priority is to pull over safely and turn off the ignition. Do not continue driving in a panic. This means the moment a setback occurs, you must not react. You must not make any sudden decisions from a place of fear. Your first job is to regulate your own nervous system. Take 10 deep breaths. Go for a walk in nature. Splash cold water on your face. Do whatever it takes to move your body out of the fight or flight response and into a state of relative calm. Once you have achieved a measure of inner peace, you proceed to the second step. You must depersonalize the event. You must strip it of all emotional labels like bad, terrible, a disaster, or a failure. See it for what it is: neutral data. A scientist in a laboratory does not throw their experiment across the room when they get an unexpected result. They get curious. They lean in. They say, "Fascinating. What is this data telling me?" You must become a compassionate scientist of your own life. Now, from this place of calm curiosity, you ask the right question. The wrong question, the question of the victim, is, "Why is this happening to me?" This question presumes an outside force is acting upon you. The right question, the question of the conscious creator, is, "What is this revealing in me?" Or, even more precisely, what unconscious belief do I hold that this external event is a perfect mirror of? The universe is simply showing you a blind spot. Your job is to look where it is pointing, and where it is pointing is always at a feeling. So, the fourth step is to trace the feeling. What is the primary emotion this event has triggered in you? Is it a feeling of injustice, of being cheated? If so, follow that feeling back. It will lead you to a core belief that the world is unfair and that you always get the short end of the stick. The event simply activated this pre-existing belief. Is the feeling one of raw survival panic? Follow it. It will lead you to a deep-seated belief that you are not safe, that you are not supported, and that you are always on the brink of disaster. Is the feeling one of shame, of humiliation? Follow it. It will lead you to the core wound of unworthiness, the belief that you are inherently flawed and deserve to fail. The external event is merely the catalyst. The root cause, the thing that needs healing, was already inside you, humming quietly beneath the surface. When you can see this clearly, you realize that these unwanted reflections are not curses. They are the greatest gifts the universe can possibly give you on your path of growth. The mirror is lovingly, compassionately, showing you exactly what needs to be healed next. in order for you to embody your highest potential. It is revealing the last remaining energetic blockages that are standing between you and the contents of your vibrational escrow account. Without this feedback, you would continue on your journey with this faulty wiring, this limiting belief hidden deep in your system. It would inevitably create a much bigger, more painful breakdown further down the road. The small setback of today is a merciful gift designed to prevent the catastrophic failure of tomorrow. It is a sign of the universe's profound love and its commitment to your ultimate success. It is a masterclass in self-awareness, offered free of charge. When you look into the mirror of your life and see a reflection you do not like, your work is simple. First, you give thanks for the clarity of the reflection. Thank you for showing me this. Then, you turn your attention away from the mirror and you go back inside. You go back to the inner work of healing the belief, of dissolving the fear, of filling the wound of unworthiness with the light of your own compassion and acceptance. You do the work within yourself. And as you do, as you change the inner object, the reflection in the mirror must, by law, change with it. You do not try to change the reflection. You change the self that is being reflected. As you do this diagnostic work, you will find that many of these hidden beliefs and painful feelings are tangled up with your past, with people who have hurt you, with situations that have wounded you, and with your own perceived failures. The mirror often reflects the heavy, energetic anchors of resentment and regret that we drag behind us. To truly clear your signal, to allow the mirror to reflect the pristine beauty of your soul's desires, we must engage in the ultimate act of energetic hygiene. We must take these heavy anchors and dissolve them with the universal solvent, the powerful alchemy of forgiveness. We have learned to read the mirror of reality, to accept its reflections not as punishments, but as invaluable feedback from a loving universe. As you perform this diagnostic work, as you trace the feelings triggered by unwanted events back to their source, you will inevitably find that many of your deepest blockages are not abstract beliefs, but are tangled up in the living energy of unforgiveness. They are resentments you hold toward others who have wronged you. They are regrets and shame you hold toward yourself for past mistakes. These pockets of unforgiveness are the most dense and heavy energies you can carry. They are the energetic equivalent of trying to swim with an anchor chained to your ankle. They are the dams that completely block the river of abundance from flowing into your life. To proceed further, to truly clear your signal, and allow the mirror to reflect the magnificent reality waiting in your escrow, we must now undertake the most profound act of spiritual alchemy. We must learn to transform the heavy, toxic lead of resentment into the pure, shining gold of forgiveness. There is a well-known saying, to hold on to resentment is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. Let us explore the literal, energetic truth of this statement. When you hold a grudge against someone, when you replay the story of their betrayal over and over in your mind, you are forcing your own being to exist in a perpetual state of that past trauma. You are bathing your own cells, day after day, in the corrosive hormones of stress, anger, and victimhood. The other person may be living their life, completely unaware and unaffected by your inner turmoil. But you, in your attachment to being right, are the one drinking the poison. You are the one whose body is keeping the score, manifesting this toxic energy as chronic tension, as illness, as a perpetual state of anxiety. On a vibrational level, you are locking your own frequency to the low, heavy signature of pain. You are telling the universe, through the powerful language of your emotion, my dominant reality is this past hurt. And the universe, the faithful mirror, has no choice but to keep reflecting circumstances that match this vibration of victimhood and injustice. You cannot broadcast a frequency of resentment and receive a reality of joy. The two are on opposite ends of the cosmic dial. To begin this alchemical process, we must first completely redefine what forgiveness is and more importantly, what it is not. The ego resists forgiveness because it operates under a series of profound misunderstandings. Let us clear these away right now. Forgiveness is not condoning the other person's behavior. It is not saying, "What you did to me was okay." What they did may have been terrible, unjust, and inexcusable. You can forgive the person without ever excusing the act. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It does not mean you must develop amnesia or pretend the painful event never happened. The memory will remain, but forgiveness will strip it of its emotional charge, transforming it from a festering wound into a neutral scar. A scar is a testament to healing, a reminder of a battle you have won. Forgiveness does not necessarily mean you must reconcile with the person. You do not have to call them, meet with them, or allow them back into your life. Forgiveness is a purely internal process. It is for you, and you alone. Finally, and most importantly, forgiveness is not an act of weakness. It is the ultimate act of strength, self-love, and personal power. So what then is forgiveness? Forgiveness, in its truest sense, is the act of canceling a debt. But the debt is not owed by the other person to you. The debt is the emotional poison you have been forcing yourself to drink. Forgiveness is the decision, once and for all, to stop drinking that poison. It is a profound act of self-love. It is you finally saying to yourself, "My peace is more important than my grievance. My freedom is more valuable than my story of being wronged. My future is more precious than my past." Forgiveness is the act of reclaiming your power. As long as you hate or resent someone, you are energetically bound to them. They live rent-free in your head, controlling your emotional state from afar. You are giving them your most precious resource, your creative, life-giving attention. To forgive is to perform a sacred, energetic cord cutting. It is to say, "I am taking my power back. You no longer have any influence over my inner state. I release you from the role of villain in my story, not for your sake, but so that I may be free." It is the most pragmatic and selfishly wonderful thing you can do for your own well-being and for your own prosperity. This is not an intellectual exercise. It is an emotional and energetic process. I invite you now to engage in a quiet, internal ritual of release. Find a space where you can be undisturbed for a few moments. Close your eyes. Take a few deep, cleansing breaths. Now, allow your mind to gently land on one person or situation that still carries the charge of unforgiveness. It is wise to start with something of a lower intensity, not necessarily the deepest trauma of your life. Perhaps it is a friend who disappointed you, a boss who treated you unfairly, a family member who misunderstands you. Bring their face into your mind's eye. Now, allow yourself to feel the pain they caused you. Do not suppress it. Give the wounded part of you permission to feel the anger, the sadness, the sense of injustice. Acknowledge the wound. See it clearly. You cannot heal an injury by pretending it isn't there. You must first acknowledge that it hurts. Now, from your heart, from the wise, compassionate center of your being, you will silently speak to this person. We will use a simple, powerful framework. First, you say to them, "I'm sorry." This is not an apology for their actions. It is an apology for your own participation in this painful, energetic dance. It is a recognition that on some level, you have been holding both of you captive by replaying this painful memory. You are saying, "I am sorry that I have used my energy to perpetuate this cycle of pain between us." Next, you say, "Please forgive me." Again, you are not asking them to forgive you for their behavior. You are asking the universe and your own soul to forgive you for holding on to this poison for so long, for believing in this story of separation and hurt, for choosing grievance over peace. The third phrase is, "Thank you." This can be the most challenging, but it is the turning point. Find something, anything, for which you can be grateful in this painful experience. Thank you for showing me how strong I am. Thank you for teaching me the importance of boundaries. Thank you for revealing a part of me that needed healing. Thank you for giving me this powerful opportunity to learn the grace of forgiveness and to set myself free. You are shifting from the role of victim to the role of a student who has learned a valuable, soul-deepening lesson. And finally, you say the most powerful words of all: I love you. This is not romantic or even personal love. It is the recognition of the divine spark of consciousness that exists within them, however deeply it may be buried beneath their own pain and ignorance. It is seeing them not as a monster, but as another wave in the same ocean. A soul who is also struggling, whose own pain caused them to act in a hurtful way. It is a recognition of your shared being. Most of all, it is an expression of love for yourself, loving yourself enough to perform this act of ultimate liberation. As you move through these 4 phrases, visualize a thick, dark, energetic cord that runs from your heart or your stomach to this other person. As you say, I love you, see a brilliant sword of golden light appearing in your hand. With one clean, decisive motion, see yourself cutting that cord. Watch as the end attached to you retracts back into your body, not as a dark cord, but as pure, shimmering light, returning your own power and life force to you. Watch as the other end retracts back to them, sending them on their way, free from your energy and you free from theirs. Feel the lightness in your being. Feel the space that has been created where that heavy anchor once was. Breathe into that new space. This is your freedom. This same profound process must also be turned inward. For many of us, the one person we find it hardest to forgive is ourselves. We hold ourselves hostage for past mistakes, for poor decisions, for opportunities we missed, for times we did not live up to our own ideals. We carry a heavy burden of self-recrimination and shame. You must realize that the person you were in the past did the very best they could with the level of awareness, the knowledge, and the resources they had at that time. If they could have done better, they would have. You cannot judge your past self by the standards of the person you are today. That is a game you can never win. So, you must perform the same ritual for yourself. Bring to mind a past version of you that you have judged harshly. Acknowledge the pain or shame of that memory. Then, from your heart, say to that younger self, I'm sorry I have judged you so harshly. Please forgive me for not seeing your struggle with compassion. Thank you for the lessons you learned the hard way, which have made me who I am today. I love you, and I release you from my judgment. You are forgiven. You are free. To forgive yourself is to finally and completely dissolve the core wound of unworthiness. It is to declare yourself worthy of a fresh start, a clean slate, a future untainted by the ghosts of the past. It is the ultimate act of clearing your signal. When your energy field is no longer broadcasting the static of old resentments and shame, it becomes a pure, clear, and powerful transmitter. You become a clean vessel, perfectly prepared to receive the flawless good that is waiting for you. Having cleansed yourself of the past, you are now ready to stop wanting your future and to start living it. You are ready to enter the sacred Sabbath of creation, the state of consciousness known as living in the end. You have walked the path of preparation. You have cleansed the inner temple of your being with the clarifying waters of forgiveness. The energetic anchors of past resentments and future anxieties have been released. You are no longer broadcasting the static of your old stories. Your signal is becoming clear, pure, and powerful. All the steps we have taken until now, understanding your power, mastering your feelings, breaking your vows, building your worthiness, and cultivating a spirit of gratitude and detachment have been the necessary and sacred preparation for this moment. We now arrive at the final, most potent, and most direct creative technique. This is the master key that unlocks the vaults of your vibrational escrow. It is the secret art of moving from a state of wanting to a state of having. It is the practice of what the great mystics have called living in the end. For your entire life, you have been trained to live in a state of seeking. You have been taught that happiness, wealth, and love are destinations you must struggle to reach. This creates a perpetual state of wanting. But let us examine the energy of wanting. To want something is to simultaneously make a powerful declaration of its absence in your present reality. When you say, "I want more money," you are screaming into the universe, "I do not have enough money." When you say, "I want to find a partner," you are vibrating with the energy of "I am alone." As long as you remain in the state of the seeker, you will only ever find more things to seek. The universe can only mirror your state of being. To receive your desire, you must abandon the state of seeking it. You must consciously and deliberately shift your identity from the one who wants it to the one who has it. You do not achieve this through physical action. You achieve it through a profound shift in consciousness. In the ancient scriptures, there is a powerful and deeply misunderstood metaphor for creation. It is said that creation occurred over 6 days, and on the 7th day, God rested. This is not a story about a cosmic deity needing a day off. It is a precise psychological formula for all conscious creation. The 6 days of labor represent the inner work you have already been doing. Day 1 was defining your desire. Day 2 was generating the feeling. Day 3 was breaking your old vows. Day 4 was building your deservingness. Day 5 was cultivating gratitude and detachment. Day 6 was clearing your field with forgiveness. This is the necessary labor. You have worked your creative week, but the work is not complete until you enter the 7th day. The 7th day, the Sabbath, is not a day of the week. It is a state of consciousness. It is a state of profound rest and stillness. But it is not the rest of a tired laborer. It is the rest of a satisfied creator. It is the deep, quiet, peaceful satisfaction that comes from knowing with absolute certainty that the work is finished. It is done. To live in the end is to enter your personal Sabbath for any desire you hold. It is to mentally and emotionally transport yourself to the point in time just after your wish has been fulfilled. You stop imagining the process of getting it, and you start living in the state of already having gotten it. This is the most crucial distinction. The anxious mind wants to fantasize about the moment of receiving the lottery numbers being announced, the email with the job offer arriving, but this still holds the energy of anticipation and wanting. The master of creation bypasses this entirely. They go beyond that moment and inhabit the resulting state. What is the state after the goal has been achieved? It is rarely a state of manic, jumping up and down excitement that is fleeting. The true, abiding state is usually one of profound peace, deep relief, quiet confidence, and a gentle, expansive joy. That is the end you are to live in. That is your Sabbath. Let us make this a practical technique. First, you must clearly define the feeling of the end state. If your desire is to be free from debt, what is the feeling of that freedom? Close your eyes and feel it now. It is a great exhalation. It is a release of tension in your shoulders. It is a sense of profound safety and peace. It is the quiet feeling of being able to walk through your day without a cloud of financial dread hanging over you. That feeling of relief is your destination. Second, you construct a short, simple, symbolic imaginal scene or act that implies the wish has already been fulfilled. This scene should take place after the fact. For example, instead of imagining finding your perfect home, you imagine a simple scene where you are in that home, relaxing in your favorite chair, feeling the deep, satisfying peace of being in your own safe space. Instead of imagining getting the promotion, you imagine a friend shaking your hand and saying, "Congratulations, I knew you'd do it," and you feel the quiet pride and gratitude of that moment. The scene should be brief, vivid, and focused entirely on generating the target feeling. Now, you take this scene into a state of deep relaxation. The mystics called this the state akin to sleep, or SATS. It is the drowsy, suggestible state you enter just before drifting off to sleep at night, or a light meditative state during the day. In this state, your conscious, analytical mind is subdued, and the doorway to your powerful subconscious mind is wide open. Here, you loop your short scene over and over again, like a lullaby. You are not just watching it like a movie, you are in it. You are feeling it with all of your senses. You feel the texture of your friend's hand. You hear their voice. And most importantly, you allow yourself to become completely saturated with the feeling of relief, or peace, or satisfaction that the scene implies. You continue this process until the imagined scene begins to feel more real than your external reality, until the feeling takes on the tones of reality. When you have successfully captured this feeling, you either drift off to sleep while steeped in it, or you open your eyes and carry that feeling with you into your day. This practice is the highest form of prayer. It is no longer begging an external deity for a favor. It is aligning with a universal law. When a doubt or fear about your desire arises during your day, you do not fight it. You do not argue with it. You simply return, in your imagination, to your Sabbath. You touch that feeling of satisfaction and peace once more, and you remember the truth. It is done. This is not an act of pretending. It is an act of prophecy. You are impressing your subconscious mind with a new reality. Your subconscious, which controls your actions, your perceptions, and your energetic vibration, does not know the difference between a vividly imagined reality and a physically experienced one. By giving it the feeling of the finished creation, you are handing it the final blueprint. Its only job then, in its tireless, powerful way, is to externalize that blueprint. It will begin to guide your actions, filter your perceptions, and adjust your vibration to effortlessly bring about the physical manifestation of the state you have assumed. You are not trying to change the world. You are assuming a new self, and the world, the mirror, changes to reflect the new you. You have now done the work. You have entered the Sabbath and accepted your desire as a finished fact in the only place creation ever truly occurs, within your own consciousness. You have rested in the feeling of its completion. But then you open your eyes, and the physical world still appears to be the same. The numbers in your bank account have not changed. The old circumstances still seem to be present. This is the moment where the uninitiated lose their faith. They declare it has not worked. They abandon their Sabbath and rush back into the 6 days of anxious labor, undoing all their beautiful creative work. They fail to understand the final piece of the puzzle, the necessary and graceful buffer that is built into the fabric of physical reality. They do not understand the purpose and the gift of the time lag. You have done the ultimate creative work. You have journeyed into your own consciousness, into the Sabbath of the soul, and you have assumed the feeling of your wish fulfilled. You have impressed the subconscious mind with your new reality, and you have rested in the quiet, satisfied knowing that it is done. And then you open your eyes. You look out at the world of Caesar, the world of facts and figures, and it appears, for all intents and purposes, to be exactly as it was before. The numbers in your bank account have not magically rearranged themselves. The person you are longing for has not suddenly appeared at your door. The reflection in the mirror looks stubbornly, frustratingly the same. It is here, in this pregnant pause between the inner creative act and the outer physical manifestation, that the faith of most seekers shatters. It is here that the voice of doubt returns with triumphant venom, screaming, "It was all a fantasy. Nothing has happened." To fall prey to this doubt is to undo all your sacred work. You must now understand, with profound and patient wisdom, the nature, the purpose, and the absolute necessity of the time lag. The apparent delay between your inner acceptance and the outer appearance of your desire is not a flaw in the system. It is not a test from a withholding universe. It is a merciful and indispensable feature of physical reality. Firstly, the time lag is a gift of profound mercy. Imagine for a moment if it did not exist. Imagine if every fleeting thought, every momentary fear, every flash of anger instantly materialized in your world. Your life would be an unbearable chaos of your own making. A passing thought of scarcity would instantly empty your wallet. A moment of anger at another driver would result in an immediate catastrophe. The time lag is a divine buffer. It is a grace period that protects you from your own momentary, undisciplined thoughts. It gives you the space to choose, to stabilize, and to persist in a new belief, a new assumption, before it hardens into fact. It ensures that only your dominant, sustained states of being are brought to life, not your fleeting, reactive moods. Secondly, the time lag is a physical necessity. The world of your imagination is fluid, instant, and ethereal. The physical world is denser. It has inertia. It has process. Energy must coalesce into matter, and this takes what we perceive as time. When you impress your subconscious with a new reality, you have created the spiritual seed, the DNA of that reality. But a seed, even a perfect one, must go through a natural gestation period before it breaks through the soil. A baker can mix the ingredients for a loaf of bread in minutes, but the dough must be given time to rise. To try and bake it immediately would result in a hard, inedible brick. A child is conceived in a moment of union, but it requires 9 months of silent, unseen development in the womb before it can be born into the world. To demand that your desire appear instantly is as foolish as a baker demanding the dough rise in 30 seconds or a mother demanding her child be born a week after conception. All creation has its own sacred and appointed interval of gestation. Let us embrace the metaphor of the wise farmer. You have done the work of selecting your perfect seed, your clear and specific desire. You have planted this seed in the most fertile soil in the universe, the receptive field of your own subconscious mind. You did this when you entered the Sabbath and felt the reality of your wish fulfilled. The seed is now in the ground. The most crucial part of its growth is now happening, but it is happening underground. It is happening in the dark. It is happening in the unseen. The seed is swelling, its hard shell is cracking open. It is sending out tender roots to draw nourishment from the soil, and it is gathering its strength to push a delicate green shoot up toward the light. This is a period of intense, miraculous, and powerful activity. But if you were to look at the surface of the field, you would see absolutely nothing. It would look exactly as it did before you planted the seed. Now, the foolish farmer, the one who operates from doubt and fear, becomes impatient. After a day, he sees no change on the surface, so he digs up the seed to see if anything is happening. He disrupts the delicate process, exposes the tender roots to the harsh air, and then, frustrated, buries it again. The next day, he repeats the process. This farmer will never, ever see a harvest. His lack of faith, his need for constant external validation, is the very thing that destroys his own creation. This is what you are doing when, after assuming your wish is fulfilled, you spend your days anxiously checking for results. You check your bank account with a feeling of hope and dread. You check your email, looking for the miracle message. You constantly scan your reality for proof that it's working. Every one of these anxious acts is the energetic equivalent of digging up your seed. You are telling the universe, I don't trust the process. I don't believe in the unseen growth. I need proof. And so you disrupt the very gestation you are trying to encourage. The wise farmer, the master creator, does something completely different. After planting the seed, he walks away from the field with a smile of quiet confidence. He does not worry about the seed. He has absolute faith in the immutable laws of nature. He knows that if he has planted a healthy seed in fertile soil, it must grow. It is the law. His work now is not to worry about the seed, but to tend the field. And what does this mean for you? It means your period of waiting is not passive. It is an active state of faithful expectancy. Your job now is to water the soil and pull the weeds. You water the soil by periodically returning to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You do this not to create it again. The seed is already planted, but to nourish it. A few times a day, you can close your eyes and revisit your Sabbath, that feeling of calm satisfaction, to keep the soil of your subconscious moist with the feeling of faith. And you must pull the weeds. The weeds are the doubts, the fears, the contradictory thoughts, and the opinions of others that will inevitably try to sprout in the field of your mind. When a thought of it's not happening arises, you do not fight it, you do not argue with it. You simply see it for what it is, a weed, and you gently and unemotionally pull it out. You replace it with the quiet knowing, it is done. The seed is growing. You live your life not in a state of anxious waiting by the door, but with the calm assurance of someone who knows a wonderful delivery is on its way. You are living in faith. You are tending the soil. You are allowing the unseen process to unfold without interference. You must trust the appointed hour. Every seed has its own unique gestation period. A radish seed may sprout in a few days. An acorn may take years to become a mighty oak. You cannot rush the divine timing of the universe. The universe is a master chess player, orchestrating an infinitely complex series of events to bring your desire to you in the most perfect and harmonious way. It is aligning people, circumstances, and opportunities in ways you cannot possibly imagine. To demand it happen on your ego's timetable is to desire an unripe fruit. It will be sour and unsatisfying. Trust that when the creation is ready, when all the pieces are perfectly in place, and when you are truly ready to receive it, the green shoot will break through the soil. The manifestation will appear in your world, naturally, effortlessly, and at the perfect moment. So see this time lag for what it is, a sacred, transformative period of becoming. The gestation period is not just for the manifestation to grow, it is for you to grow. The universe is using this interval to mold you into the person who is a perfect vibrational match for the desire you have claimed. It is building your faith. It is strengthening your trust. It is weaning you off of your need for external validation. The ultimate goal of this entire process is not just for you to have the thing you desire. It is for you to become the person who can create, receive, and sustain that reality with ease and grace. The purpose of wanting $1 million is not just to have the money. It is the journey of becoming the man or woman who is a millionaire in consciousness. This is the final transformation we must now explore. We have journeyed together through the fertile darkness of the unseen, learning to trust the sacred gestation period that exists between the seed of our intention and the fruit of its manifestation. We have learned that this time lag is not an empty void, but a profound and active chrysalis. It is a space designed not just for your desire to grow, but for you to grow. We now arrive at the deepest and most transformative purpose of this entire journey. It is a secret that, once understood, will shift your entire motivation from a state of anxious getting to a state of joyful becoming. The ultimate goal of this work is not for you to have $1 million. It is for you to become the man or woman who is a millionaire in consciousness. The former is a fleeting circumstance. The latter is a permanent evolution of the soul. For most of your life, you have been trapped in the if-then fallacy. If I have the money, then I will feel secure. If I have the perfect partner, then I will feel loved. If I have the successful career, then I will feel worthy. This is the great lie of the ego. It places your desired feeling state on the other side of an external achievement. But we have seen countless examples of people who achieve immense wealth, fame, and success, only to find themselves just as anxious, just as insecure, and just as miserable as they were before. This is because they acquired the external symbol without undergoing the internal transformation. The money, being a neutral amplifier, simply magnified the fear and emptiness that was already there. They got the prize, but they missed the entire point of the journey. The desire for wealth was never about the money. The desire was the universe's bait on a golden hook, the call to adventure designed to lure you onto the sacred path of self-realization. The true treasure was never the destination. It was the person you would have to become to get there. Let us use our most powerful metaphor yet, the alchemy of identity. Imagine your current self, the self with all its limiting beliefs and fears, as a caterpillar. The caterpillar crawls upon the ground. It can only see the world from a limited perspective. But deep within its being, there is a desire, a sacred impulse, to fly. It sees the butterflies dancing in the air, and it yearns for that freedom, that expanded perspective, that effortless grace. This is you, desiring a life of abundance. Now, the foolish caterpillar, the one operating from the ego, might try to find a shortcut. It might try to put on a butterfly costume. It could painstakingly glue paper wings to its back and paint its body with bright colors. It might even fool some other caterpillars for a moment. This is the equivalent of getting money without the inner change, winning the lottery, or inheriting a fortune without evolving your consciousness. You have the costume of wealth, but you are still a caterpillar. You cannot fly. You are just a slow-moving creature, now burdened and weighed down by a fragile, inauthentic costume that you must constantly struggle to maintain. The wise caterpillar knows this is a fool's errand. It understands that true flight cannot be attached, it must be embodied. And so, it instinctually seeks out the path of true transformation. It builds a chrysalis from the outside. This chrysalis looks like a period of death or inaction. It is dark, it is still, it is silent. This is the gestation period. This is your inner work. And inside this chrysalis, a terrifying and miraculous process occurs. The caterpillar's old form, its very identity, must completely and utterly dissolve. It must surrender its entire structure, its way of being, its understanding of the world. It must become, for a time, an undifferentiated goo. This is the part of the journey where you face your deepest fears, where you allow your old limiting beliefs to be dismantled, where you let go of the person you thought you were. It is the ultimate act of surrender. And it is from this surrendered primordial state that a new being is assembled, guided by a divine, intelligent blueprint. The butterfly emerges, and here is the secret. The butterfly does not have to learn how to fly. It does not try to fly. It simply opens its wings, and it is flight. Its ability to soar is an inseparable part of its new identity. It is the natural expression of what it has become. This is the path you are on. You are not trying to attach the paper wings of money to your caterpillar self. You are in the chrysalis, dissolving the identity of the person who struggles and lacks, and allowing the identity of the person who is abundant and free to emerge. The goal is to become the butterfly, and when you do, you will not have to chase abundance. You will simply be abundance. The money, the opportunities, the joy, they will be the natural environment in which you now live. They will be the sky beneath your wings, a perfect match for the new being you have become. You will not have it. You will be it. So what are the attributes of this millionaire consciousness? What does it truly mean to be this new person? Let us deconstruct it, for it has nothing to do with a number and everything to do with a state of being. The first attribute is an unshakable inner security. This is not the false security of a large bank balance which can be lost. It is the profound, cellular knowing that you are the source of your own supply. It is the peace that comes from understanding that the universe is your partner, that your good is held for you in escrow, and that you have the power to create whatever you need from the infinite field of potential. You no longer look to the world for your security. You bring your security to the world. The second attribute is an expansive and joyful generosity. The caterpillar self, operating from fear of lack, hoards its resources. The butterfly self, the millionaire consciousness, knows that it is one with the infinite ocean. It is not afraid to circulate its resources, its money, its time, its love, its knowledge. It becomes the wise farmer, joyfully directing the flow, knowing that giving and receiving are two sides of the same coin, and that the more it gives from a place of genuine abundance, the more the channels are open to receive. The third attribute is a sovereign freedom. This is freedom from the desperate need for approval from others. It is freedom from the prison of comparison. The butterfly does not compare its wings to another's prefastory. It simply flies. Having built the inner architecture of deservingness, you no longer need the world to validate you. Your sense of worth is generated from within. This is the only true freedom there is. The fourth attribute is a state of effortless creativity. You no longer operate from the frantic, draining energy of the hustle. You live in a state of inspired flow, allowing brilliant ideas, creative solutions, and perfect opportunities to move through you with grace. You have become the river, flowing powerfully and peacefully toward the sea of your highest expression. And the final, crowning attribute is a profound and abiding peace. It is the peace of the Sabbath. It is the peace that comes from no longer being at war with yourself or with reality. You have ceased struggling, ceased resisting, ceased trying to force and control. You have surrendered to the flow of your own life, trusting its intelligence and its goodness. This peace is the ultimate treasure. It is the pearl of great price. These 5 states, security, generosity, freedom, creativity, and peace, this is the true definition of wealth. This is the real million-dollar prize. The paper money that follows is just the receipt. It is the symbol. It is the delightful but secondary echo of the magnificent inner transformation you have undergone. The final secret of this entire journey is the realization that this butterfly self, this millionaire consciousness, is not a new identity you have to build from scratch. It is your true nature. It is who you were before the world taught you to be a caterpillar. The entire process of this inner work has not been about adding anything to you. It has been a process of subtraction, of unbecoming. It has been the gentle washing away of the mud of fear and false belief to reveal the solid gold temple that you have always been. Therefore, the final step is to stop seeing this magnificent self as a future destination. You must begin to assume it, to inhabit it, right now. Throughout your day, in every circumstance, ask yourself this simple question: how would the abundant, peaceful, sovereign version of me respond to this? And then, in that moment, choose that response. Feel that feeling. Think that thought. In doing so, you are not pretending. You are anchoring your true identity in your present tense reality. You are choosing to be the butterfly right now and allowing the old caterpillar shell to simply fall away. As you stabilize in this new identity, you will find that the game itself has changed. You are no longer trying to manifest things to make you happy. Your life itself has become a manifestation of your happy and abundant state. You have graduated from the finite game of getting, and you have now entered the infinite game of being. You have journeyed through the chrysalis of your own consciousness and have begun to emerge, not as your old self with new attachments, but as a new being entirely. You understand that the true prize was never the external symbol, but the internal transformation. You have begun the sacred process of becoming the millionaire in consciousness, the butterfly in being. And so, a natural question arises. Is this it? Is the journey over? Have I finally won the game? The answer is a joyous and liberating paradox. Yes, the old game is over. But a new, infinitely more beautiful game is just beginning. You have not won a prize. You have graduated to a whole new level of existence. You have been playing a finite game, and you are now invited to play an infinite one. In our human experience, there are two types of games. Finite games are played for the purpose of winning. A football game is a finite game. It has a clear beginning and end, a known set of rules, and at the conclusion, there is a winner and a loser. The game ends when the goal is achieved. For your entire life, you have been taught to treat success, wealth, and happiness as a finite game. The goal was to get the money, win the promotion, or achieve the dream. Once you did, the game was supposedly over, and you would be declared a winner. This is the paradigm of the ego. It is a world of finish lines, of competition, of victory and defeat. And it is a deeply unsatisfying way to live, because the moment one finite game ends, the empty feeling returns, and you must frantically search for a new game to win. But there is another way to play. There are infinite games. An infinite game is played not for the purpose of winning, but for the glorious purpose of continuing the play. Life itself is an infinite game. Love is an infinite game. Art is an infinite game. There is no winning at friendship. There is no end to learning. The goal is not to finish, but to continue the joyful process of engagement and expansion. In an infinite game, the rules are fluid, the boundaries can change, and players are not trying to defeat one another, but to invite more players into the game to keep it going. You have spent this entire journey learning the skills necessary to stop playing the frantic, finite game of getting rich and to start playing the joyous, infinite game of being abundance. In the finite game, acquiring $1 million was the finish line. The game was about the outcome. In the infinite game you have now entered, the money is merely a token. It is a wonderful and useful tool that allows you to play more creatively and more expansively, but it is not the point. The point is the play itself. The joy is no longer found in the destination, but in the journey. The pleasure is in the constant creative dance with the universe. You have moved from a mindset of accumulation to a mindset of circulation. You are no longer trying to fill a hole. You are now an overflowing fountain, and your joy comes from the very act of flowing. You have been liberated from the tyranny of the outcome. Let us imagine your life as a dance. The finite player, the hustler, gets on the dance floor with one goal: to reach the other side of the room. He does not hear the music. He does not feel the rhythm. He simply puts his head down and bulldozes his way across the floor, bumping into people, stumbling, sweating, all in a frantic effort to reach his destination. For him, the dance is an obstacle. It is a chore. The joy is deferred until he reaches the far wall. This is the life of anxious striving. It is ugly, awkward, and devoid of grace. But you are no longer this person. You are now the infinite player. You have learned to hear the music of the universe. You understand that the purpose of the dance is not to get anywhere, but simply to dance. You step onto the floor and you begin to move. The music is your desire. The lead of your dance partner is your intuition. Sometimes the music is fast and joyful, and you twirl with abandon. Sometimes it is slow and soulful, and you move with deep, contemplative grace. There is no destination. The other side of the room is irrelevant. The entire point, the entire joy, the entire reason for being there is found in the beauty of the movement itself, in the perfect, harmonious connection with your partner and with the music. This is your new life. It is not a race to a finish line. It is a beautiful, endless dance with the divine. What does it look like to live this infinite game day to day? It means you have released the frantic need to arrive at some final, static state of perfect happiness or permanent success. You embrace the natural rhythms of life, the cycles of expansion and seeming contraction, knowing that it is all part of the dance. The slow songs are just as beautiful and necessary as the fast ones. You find your joy not in the future promise of a goal, but in the rich texture of your present moment. The joy is in the process. It is in the act of creating, of learning, of loving, of contributing. You are no longer living a life of when, then. When I get the money, then I will be happy. You are living a life of now. I am happy now, in this moment of my becoming. You also realize that in an infinite game, there are no upper limits. Reaching a certain level of financial abundance is not the end. It is simply the beginning of a new, more expansive level of play. It is like unlocking a new, bigger, more beautiful dance floor with even more exquisite music. The question is no longer, how can I get more? The question becomes, what can I create from this place? How can I contribute? How can I express my unique gifts more fully? How can I invite more people to join this beautiful dance? Your focus shifts from personal accumulation to joyful creative expression and contribution. You have become a true millionaire of consciousness. And like any wise philanthropist of the spirit, your greatest joy now comes from circulating your wealth of love, of wisdom, of creativity, and yes, of money to enrich the whole. You have finally understood that you are a wave in the great ocean, and your highest purpose is not to become the biggest wave, but to express the power and the beauty of the entire ocean in your unique and magnificent way. The long journey of boot camp is over. The grueling training in the chrysalis is complete. The old finite game of struggle and striving has ended. You have learned the rules, you have transformed your being, and you now stand at the entrance to a new reality. The infinite game has begun. The music is playing. The universe, your perfect dance partner, is holding out its hand to you with a loving smile. There is nothing left to learn, nothing left to prepare for, nothing left to do. All that is left is to accept the invitation. All that is left is to dance. And so, our journey together comes to a gentle close. We began by standing before the great mirror of the world, feeling like a spectator to its reflections, a victim of its circumstances. We traveled inward, into the echo chamber of the mind, and learned that we were the source of the sound. We descended into the heart and discovered that feeling is the currency of creation. We unearthed the forgotten contracts of scarcity and burned them in the fire of awareness. We washed the mud from the golden temple of our own deservingness and polished it with the resonance of gratitude. We walked through the sacred halls of silence, learned the secret language of the universe, and dissolved the illusion that we were ever separate from one another. We have come full circle, but we do not return to the same place. We now understand the secret of the mirror. It was never showing you a world that was separate from you. It was only ever showing you yourself. The search is over, because the premise of the search was an illusion. You were never separate from the abundance you sought. You were never cut off from the love you craved. You were never unworthy of the peace you desired. It was all, always, within you, patiently waiting for your recognition. The journey was not about adding anything to you. It was about stripping away all the lies you had been taught about who you are, so that the magnificent truth of your being could finally shine forth. You are not a radio receiver, desperately trying to tune into the distant frequency of abundance. You are the transmission tower. The frequency does not come to you. It emanates from you. So let this be the truth that settles into the very marrow of your bones. Let this be the mantra that stills your mind and centers your soul. I am not the seeker. I am the source. Feel the profound peace in those words. The striving is over. The struggle is done. The need to prove yourself is gone. Your only work now is to be what you have always been. So breathe. Breathe into this new reality. Breathe into this quiet, confident, and peaceful power. Feel the steady, calm rhythm of your own abundant heart. You are home. You have always been home. And now, the true dance begins.